rise, and we're racing.
The high counter pushes Jensen along the exit of turn number 4.
This win, it's
big slide!
It's time to go racing at GRIDLIFE Midwest. Hill side by side. O'Gorman around the outside now for the top spot. Tom O'Gorman going to lead. 3 wide for the lead.
This is great racing, folks. This is what this series is all about.
57 cars for GRIDLIFE Touring Cup at the annual GRIDLIFE Midwest Festival in South Haven, Michigan. This 2.21-mile racetrack offers speed and lots of corners and high speeds here for our first festival of the 2022 season. Let's take a look at GingerMan Raceway, the track map around here, before we head down to Jarod, DeAnda in the pits to get a quick update from our front couple drivers. Here's a look, the track map of GingerMan Raceway, 11 turns, high speed into turn 1, downshift into second gear, sail off into turn 2, then up to turn 3, the right-hander. Into turn 4, the left-hand kink. 5 and 6, 2 left-handers before the run up to turn number 7. Carry the speed all the way to the outside of the racetrack, then turns 8 and 9, fast left-handers before turns 10 and 11 around here at GingerMan Raceway. That's what the track looks like. 57 competitors in a 15-minute race here in GLTC. Let's head down to Jarod in the pits to talk with our pole sitter.
3, 2, 1.
We are live down here in the pits, and Andrew Smedegard and Paul Curley are the successors down here at GLTC. And I mean, if you look at the variety of vehicles, I think that's what GRIDLIFE is really celebrating, is it's down to Corvettes, S2000s. You look down the line here, and the variety of vehicles is really what it's all about. But Smedegard and Curley are something to look at, right? I mean, overall, you look at this, you know, overall, party on track, party off track, drifting, gripping, and ripping. That's what GRIDLIFE is all about. So thank you so much for celebrating GRIDLIFE as we're about to send out GLTC, and the variety of vehicles that are out here is, again, oh man, there's Tomo. Look at Tomo. Give a little wave to the camera. Little toodles, little GLTC plus. Thank you so much. As again, I think it's GRIDLIFE overall. Brings a little tear to the eye, right? And looking at South Haven and GingerMan Raceway, I think that this racetrack also is accepting, but also it's gonna challenge a lot of racers. It's about turn 1 to turn 11. You know, you got Devil, you got this, you got that. Overall, you need to conquer it. And this racetrack is accepting, but also it's very challenging. But it's rewarding to the victors. So thank you so much, man. Baby Kyle, back up to you, man. I'm really excited.
Thanks,
Are you guys
Jarod.
pumped?
You don't get a lot of that kind of interview. That's great. Jarod down there in the pits, having a good time this weekend, Greg. But a 57-car GLTC field, we always talk about the variety, as Jarod mentioned. But let's talk about that for a moment. Up front, a K-Swap Honda S2000 with Andy Smedegard behind the wheel. Second place, Jeremy Swenson in one of those Viking Performance Corvettes. V8 versus 4-cylinder. Both rear-wheel drive coupes, but about as far apart as they can get in terms of their engine under the hood.
They are, but it is the remarkable rules package that has been put together here. And it's more than just your basic power to weight, but it's not an overly complicated version of it. It's power to weight, and then there are other factors. If you're running a little more aero, a little bit more weight. If you're running, nowadays, it used to be if you're running different tires, there would be changes. Now everybody's essentially on the same type of tire, which has brought it closer. But the bigger, more powerful cars, expect them to get to the front, open up a lead. But even in 15 minutes, they will overuse those tires because of the weight on the car. Remember, if you have weight, one, you have to accelerate it, you have to slow it, you have to turn it. And two, with the weight comes a lot more power, which is going to really affect those rears. So they'll come back to the field, and at the end of it, everybody's dicing for position. And as the old saying goes with this series, we get rid of the middle boring stuff. We have the start and the finish, but we do it 4 times on a weekend. It is the most intense, fun racing. And the best part about it is the focus on no contact racing. So if a driver has any overlap on another car, going into a corner, that other car has to give them that piece of racetrack so the racing can be immense. We see side by side through sequences of corners. It's pretty special stuff.
It certainly is. Again, we mentioned the field size here this weekend. This is a record-breaking field. We've got some very interesting cars here, including a 2018 Honda Odyssey from the Hart, Alabama crew. We've got a 2002 Chevrolet S10 in the field with the Rudd's Racing Team camp. But let's roll through the starting lineup here, Greg. I'll take the top 20, and we'll see what you can get through before we go green. 2 pace laps here,
all right.
So not a ton of time. On row number 1, it's the pair of ASM Honda S2000s, Andy Smedegaard and Tom O'Gorman. In row number 2, Jeremy Swenson from Viking Performance starts alongside the K-tuned Acura TSX of James Houghton. Row 3, Paul Curley and Robert Thorne in the number 45 and 180 Corvette and a BMW M3. Row 4, Matt Waldbaum in an ASM S2000 and Kerry James in an M3 in the number 44. Eric Jensen runs 9th in an LS Swap FRS. Jeff Preston starts 10th at the outside of row 5 in an NC MX-5. Eric Meadows, another NC MX-5 alongside Baton Rosenberg, the 18-year-old who's found a lot of pace this weekend. He starts 12th. Behind them in row 7, Zach Lavoie at ASM, and Ryan Christoph starts 14th in the 469. Row number 8, Ronnie Sullivan from ASM, and Jacob Price rolls off 16th in the 202 car. In row number 9, Justin Lee's going to roll off in the number 7. Used to be Luke McGrew's car, now it's Justin Lee's. Lewis Chatroop rolls off alongside him in row number 18. Ryan Upham and Andrew Rains wrap up the top 20, Greg.
Starting in the 21st spot will be the 113 of Wes Penn. In the 22nd spot alongside the 88 of Fiona Liu. Starting 23rd in row 12, 144, Vitus Arana Sox. I don't think I got that right. And starting 24th will be the number 23 of Jake Jorenstad. Starting 25th will be the 898 of Brian DeFries alongside in 26th. The 24 of Dustin Barty. In the 27th spot, it'll be the 17 of Bob Dice and the 767 of Wes Case. Alongside each other in row 15, starting 29th, the 28 of Steve Pruden and the number 213 of Scott Robertson. Starting 31st and 32nd in row 16, Jackson Jensen. Great to have him on board, son of Eric Jensen, of course, and Michael Kritikos. Starting in the 33rd and 34th spots, it'll be Joel Morrison in the 171 and the 12 of Felipe Gonzalez. Starting in the 18th row, the 35, in the 35th spot, 567 is Dan Capaldo, and the 46 of Bill Griffin starts 36th. Starting 37th in row 19, 117, Nick Sartor, and the number 9 of Cameron Recknagel. Then starting in the 20th row in 39th, it's the 871 of Arimas Carrozas and the number 404 of Jeremy Myers. Then in the 41st spot, it'll be the 261 of Brad Kosiba, and the 42nd spot, the 77 of Hans Horpadal. Starting 43rd, the 36 of Tyler Starr, and the 515 of Thomas Moss. Filling out row 23 in the 45th spot, 68, Patrick Reyes. Great graphics package on that car. In the 46th spot will be 528, Richard Sawicki. Starting 24th, the number 541 of Seth Gale, and the number 43 of Joe Tulo. Starting in the 25th row, it is going to be in the 49th spot, the 71 of Clayton Fitzpatrick, and the 290 of Matthew Park. Starting in the 20th row, this is huge, isn't it, folks? Number 55 of Stephen Cox, and the number 4, that's our delivery wagon, of Carl Hertel. And then in the 53rd spot, Michael Hertzen from the FCP Euro team in the number 710, and rounding out the field, the number 51 of David Rudzinski. So that is a huge field, 54 cars strong.
Yeah, we're missing 2 cars from that grid, and those 2 cars are Brian Heitkotter in the number 5. Engine issue for them. They're shipping another engine up to take care of that swap. The other car that's missing is Colton Wade. Broke a transmission. They are shipping one up from Columbus. They'll be ready to go tomorrow. So those are the 2 cars that are missing from this grid. If you're new to Grid Life Touring Cup, this is a power to weight based series, around 12.5 to 1 weight to power. And what that means is you can balance big, heavy cars that with a lot of power and lightweight, nimble cars that might have a little bit less displacement. These Corvettes that you see running about 230 to 250 wheel horsepower, but they weigh 32 to 3,500 pounds, a lot heavier than, say, those ASM S2000s that are in the 27, 2800 range that might make a little bit less power. Throughout the field, a huge variety of makes and models. We have over 30 years between our newest and oldest car in the field. How about that? And we're going to only be racing for 15 minutes, which means that you don't have have a lot of time to get your ducks in a row and get to the front. We also set race 2 by your fastest lap. So for some of the drivers that didn't get a great qualifying run and starting deep in the field, lay back, get a clean run, and drive through and get a fast lap to get yourself on the front row for race 2.
It's one of the unique things about this series is each race impacts the start in some way of the next race. So if you get behind early, you've got to really play the strategy game to get yourself back up front. It may mean sacrificing a couple of passes, but getting that lap time in, it will be a big, big benefit. And because of the size of the field, as you can see, we had to do the 2-piece laps to make sure that everybody could get out on track and get queued up. But it is time to go racing.
A beautiful OEM Mazda RX-7, our pace car here. It's going to peel off and take the trip down to pit lane here at GingerMan Raceway. For the first time in 2022 at GingerMan Raceway, we're set to go racing in GRIDLIFE Touring Cup. At GRIDLIFE's biggest festival, speed meets sound, with 54 cars taking the green flag at GingerMan Raceway. As soon as we get them all here, we're going racing. Green flag flies, and we're racing in GRIDLIFE Touring Cup here at GRIDLIFE Midwest. Andy Smedegard around the outside of Tom O'Gorman, side by side. Big slide for the ASM 212 through the first corner.
And look at Swenson, does he get up underneath O'Gorman? Looked like he had the nose there, but Tomo able to roll a little bit more speed through the exit of 2. So Swenson has to tuck back in. It's ASM 1-2. Vikings are chasing him.
Thundering sounds here at GingerMan Raceway through turn 3 now. Behind him, Paul Curley got swarmed. He's got Houghton and Robert Thorne behind him, eating the rear bumper of that Corvette. Still 2x2 all the way back through the 54 drivers and teams competing here this weekend. Look at Robert Thorne all over the back of Houghton through turn 5. Curley real slow in the middle. Big slide for Thorne. Houghton's off course.
Just dropped that right tire. Houghton did a nice job to not let it get away from him. And that did give a nice opportunity, though, right there to Kerry James, who just tucked to the inside and maybe picked up a spot. Good run for him. But, boy, I'll tell you, Smedegard timing that start to perfection and easing away already.
You can see the dust cloud blowing away from where Houghton went off course in 5 and 6. Big moment there. He keeps it straight into turn number 10B. Andy Smedegard has a lead now, about 8 to 9 car lengths. Houghton gathered it back up and kept a couple cars behind him, including Matt Waldbaum, a new entry to the ASM camp in that number 90. That's the gray and magenta car. Look on the left-hand side of the screen, all the cars streaming into turn 10B, but Smedegard, O'Gorman, and Swenson lead the way, a familiar trio in GLTC.
Boy, they have been. They've been front runners for a long time, and Smedegard really has this track dialed right now and got that great launch. Then you see Tomo with Swenson still right there. And I'm a little surprised that Swenson didn't maybe make a little bit more ground up on Tomo in that long run from 10 into 11.
Yeah, and having a look at the cars as they come across the order. Thorne up to 5th, Houghton back to 6th. Then Kerry James, Matt Waldbaum, Eric Jensen, Zach Lavoie, your top 10. The rest of the order scrolling along the bottom of your screen. It's been pretty tidy so far from what we can tell, other than a couple scary moments for Houghton and others in that pack. Keep an eye on Matan Rosenberg, that red Miata in the mix, as he tries to improve his starting position from about 12th on the grid.
Zach Lavoie, good start too, up from 13th into the top 10 already. So he's just progressed every year, hasn't he? We've just watched him, and he's continued every time we see him run. It's just a little quicker, a little bit better strategy, a little bit better racecraft, and it's paying off for him. Great battle for second, though. O'Gorman, as you can see, running for Out Motorsports and Out Racing and Pride Motorsports, and just doing a superb job as always for Tomo, but chasing the team leader right now.
In through turn 7 and 8, the sweep back from 7 into that 8 turn, that right-left transition. A lot of weight transfer happening there. Look at Swenson gathering momentum on Tomo. Not enough momentum to overtake him into 10B, but get close enough to him to keep the pressure on. That's certainly a volatile position between those two. Behind him at a couple other battles, Rosenberg under fire from behind. That might be the 99 of Andrew Raines on the back of him.
Well, Swenson this time a little closer to Tomo, coming out of 10. And this might be an opportunity for him to be able to sneak through as we drop back, check things out. There's Houghton on Thorne with Curley right in front of them. That is a great battle itself for 4th, 5th, and 6th.
Yeah, right behind the front 3. Matt Waldbaum is chasing Robert Thorne just ahead of him. But Curley has started to work his way back through a couple of these cars, up to 4th place now. And back into turn 1, a little dust cloud up at 5 and 6 from another little rumble that people had. Again, that's an easy place to drop a tire as you try to carry speed through that double apex left-hand sequence.
Thorne now right on the back of Curley. There they are as they come out of 2. And you can see the Corvette a little bit more leg as it accelerates out, but under braking, Curley's right there again. But I'll tell you what, Thorne really attacking, and Curley really letting that vet have its head at the exit of 3, using all the track, and it gives him a little bit of breathing room.
Yeah, it's really interesting to watch the different builds kind of ebb and flow throughout the lap.
Yeah.
The V8's gaining on the straightaways, losing in the corners. That's kind of what makes this racing what it is. This track seems to advantage the lighter weight cars in the past that we've seen. If you can get one of those heavy cars in front, like we see with Curley and Robert Thorne, it's pretty tricky to get by because they just pull away on the straights. But it's difficult for those cars to initiate a pass.
Well, when you're in traffic, whether you're heading through a pack of cars or whether you're the lead car in traffic, you've got the advantage if you have power. Power is always your friend. Now, by the end of the race, you could be slowing down a little bit, but as long as you can get that car squared up, straight, so you don't spin the rears up, you're going to be difficult to pass.
Whoa, Smedegaard leader is off course. Trouble for the 212. The race leader is off track to the left at the exit of 10B, and just like that, O'Gorman inherits the lead from his teammate.
Yeah, did he slide off or did he have a problem? I didn't see it, so we just suddenly saw him in the grass. But yeah, suddenly Tomo has a lot of room, and Swenson fell back a little bit on that lap.
Yeah, he's rolling, so he might think he's dropping fluid or something. We saw this earlier with the Hellcat Red Eye in track battle, trying to keep the engine off the race course and keep this race green. Great heads-up action. You see everybody jump up positions as Smedegaard falls down. That is not what we wanted to see for our race leader, but that will hand the lead over to his teammate, and then Jeremy Swenson, Curley, Thorne, and Kerry James, the rest of your top 5.
There is a look at Tomo, and he did top both of the first practice sessions, and obviously was right up front in the qualifying session as well. So he really has a line around this place. He flows speed incredibly well, and he's going to be tough to deal with, I think. Once Tomo gets to the front on a track that is a true driver's track, he's tough to beat.
Yeah, remember last season here at this event, he won 3 of the 4 races back in the spring of 2021. So if he gets out front, he's going to be a dangerous driver for everybody else. Jeremy Swenson trying to reel him back in. Viking Performance teammate Paul Curley is behind him. Then Robert Thorne from ASM and Shaky Dog. Then Kerry James. Here's a battle. Kerry James and Matt Waldbaum from ASM. Another one of those ASM K2000s, bringing the fight to the rear of the 44.
Boy, and Waldbaum has just been a great story. We had the pleasure of calling him in the Winter iRacing Series, and he was always a player right there. And like you mentioned then, he was planning on coming and doing GRIDLIFE Touring Cup, and he didn't waste much time. He jumped in both feet in the pool and right to the deep end and is playing well out there.
Yeah, of course. And, you know, there's you see James Houghton off track as well. So Houghton is pulled off. He's got problems. Another one of our front runners that's dropped off the timing and scoring screen. So some attrition for drivers we expected to have great results today. Back up into 4th, or 3rd rather, Curley and Thorne having a good fight for the last spot on the podium.
And you'd mentioned earlier in the day that Houghton, that car was really quick, but it's still being developed a little bit.
Another S2000, that's Fiona Liu in the Pika S2K. That's one of the other ASM cars, so 2 of their team already struggling here in this first race, but all the cars have managed to find a safe place off course.
Yeah, we don't even have a yellow flag on a corner. Oh, look at this now. Thorne taking a look. He's way too far back. I think he's just trying to get into Curley's mirrors a little bit, see if he can distract him. But you can see Curley really good coming out of that very tricky turn 3. Just has that line and just rolls a lot of exit speed. Yeah, so again, issues for some of our front runners. Paul Curley, though, still trying to defend from the 180 of Robert Thorne through turns 5 and 6 and heads up towards turn number 7. And again, closing on the brakes is Robert Thorne. He's got lots of experience in a variety of vehicles. Has jumped over to Formula Drift lately. Has had a really great debut over there. Has experience in Pirelli World Challenge a couple of years ago. And now running in GLTC and keeping Paul Curley on his toes here. Look at this, through 8 and 9. And the 180 is there. Can he dive up on the brakes? Not quite. I think Curley's got the defense on him. Thorne's going to try the outside here, but now it's about the straightaway. You would think this would be, yeah. Oh, he's got the nose inside. This is going to be just an absolute drag race. He went for the toe, and that is a Corvette in front of him, but that Bimmer has a fair amount of power. He's got the inside. If he can out deep him, and generally BMWs are known to be really good on the brakes, and it showed right there. Yeah, and through and takes 3rd place away. So move Robert Thorne up a couple of positions from where he started. A great run. So it's going to be O'Gorman, Swenson, and now Robert Thorne that's going to have 3rd place, and Paul Curley will run 4th at the moment. We do have a timing issue on the timing side that they're going to have to sort out, but we'll keep everything in order as we can for you. O'Gorman, Swenson, Thorne, and Curley, your top 4 at the moment. Up towards turn number 3 now, and we'll see if Curley can fight back on Robert Thorne. I'm not convinced that Thorne was that much quicker
and see if Curley can keep touch with him here.
And Curley really, I mean, he knew he was had, and obviously if he'd moved over, he could have, I mean, as soon as Thorne moved, Curley really was kind of stuck, because at that point, if he'd moved over, it would have been in reaction, and that's verboten. And so he just sort of had to let him through. But as you said, that doesn't mean that he can't counterpunch and try and come back after him here. So we take a look at James and Walbaum. Boy, everywhere we're looking, we're finding great two-car scraps.
Yeah, it seems like everyone's kind of packed up and paired up in different groups, and it's kind of 1 versus 1 all over the place. Kerry James has had the number 90 in the rearview mirror for much of this race. Walbaum's offense has kind of softened a little bit in the recent laps, but we'll see if he can get back up on the wheel. There's Tom O'Gorman, who continues to lead the way over Jeremy Swenson. Again, we don't know what happened to the number 212. All we know that is he dropped out after leading the opening 3 or 4 laps, and now Tomo's lead has expanded maybe 20, 25 car lengths on Swenson.
Yeah, he's got a nice lead built up, and as we said, he just rolls so much speed, and it's a momentum track. That margin is up to almost 4 seconds that he's got in hand right now, so he's well and truly in control at this point.
And again, throwing the car into turn 2, we've seen that a bunch.
And you see the abruptness of when he transitions, and what it does is it really loads those left side tires. Then he can brake and turn, and he gets those fronts really biting, and then the car can rotate in. It's beautiful.
You almost saw Walbaum sort of do a similar thing there, and that might be Team Tomo helping out there.
Yep,
but Walbaum is keeping that pressure on the 44 Kerry James off into turn 3. James is a little bit defensive, about a half a car width off of what you'd consider the racing line to the right, and up onto the curb, sliding out to the edge of the racetrack. But Walbaum is not quite close enough to make a pass.
Fun watching this duel here. Look at that. Walbaum really closing up on the brakes into 6. And he's right there. It's about as close as we've seen him. It's going to be a matter of, can he stay there up to the exit at 10? If he can stay that close, he might be able to do something here.
44 rim riding through turn 7.
Great line through there.
Fantastic. Tucks it in tight. And he's driving very, very well, and keeping the number 90 behind him.
And that's that patience we talked about in that turn, exit of 7. You got to stay out of it. If you turn in early, you're going to be slow coming out of 9.
Woohoo, he's on him now.
Oh, he is in attack mode.
Through 10B behind him, you see a couple ASM teammates, Zach Lavoie and Ronnie Solomon, fighting, but this is getting spicy for position just outside of the top 5, the 44 and the number 90, toe-to-toe. I think the 90's a little better on the brakes at the moment. Watch them as they get to the braking zone. 5 car lengths now, 4, now 3 as they close in here.
Ooh, and he got James to miss the apex just a little bit, and that cost James. He couldn't pick the throttle up quite as quick, and suddenly Walbaum's right back within a car length.
Checkered flag now. Tom O'Gorman picks it up, and I think we had to pick up the checkered. Too many cars on course, and that will be the end of race number 1. And again, the timing on the timing side is a little bit borked, so we have out of order here on our screen. It's like that on race 0 too. So O'Gorman is your winner. Then it's going to be Swenson in 2nd. And then Robert Thorne grabs a 3rd. That's a fantastic run for the 180.
Yeah.
And then Paul Curley rounds out in 4th. Strong run for Curley as well.
Very good run for Curley. He did everything he could, but Thorne was just that little bit too much quicker. And I think for James, he may have been grateful that checker flew there, because I think another lap or 2, Walbaum may have been able to take that final top in the spot 5 away from him.
Yeah, again, it's actually hard to know what was going on behind because
know.
Everything's so shuffled right now. But I do see Eric Jensen kind of up in the mix as well, so he must have had a fairly good race. My biggest concerns and questions are what happened to all of our front runners. We had Smedegaard and Houghton both have problems, and those are 2 big players this weekend. And here's the big deal, Greg, is that if Houghton didn't get a very good lap, I think Smedegaard might have gotten an okay lap. Race 2 is gridded by your race 1 fastest lap time. So if you didn't get a good lap and you dropped out, you're starting tail of the field. That wrecks your whole weekend.
Yeah, it absolutely does. And you know, that's where, you know, we talked about if you're back in the pack, there's the 213 that has had a bit of a moment out there, Scott Robertson.
Yeah, Scott Robertson from Robertson Racing. He's way off in the grass. I'm trying to figure out where that is and if he just drove to get off track or if he spun to meet out. I don't see any tire tracks leading
skid marks
sideways.
Yeah, or anything like that. So
he pulled off. That is after turn 11 on the front straight. So he must have just pulled off well clear to make sure that he wasn't going to be in the way. So that's great. I mean, that's
good
again,
sportsmanship again.
I think once we cut this race a little bit short, but once you get to 4 or 5 cars in the dirt, it's about time to go pick them up.
Yeah, you got to be a little bit circumspect at that point. And But the racing was absolutely intense, and that's going to bode well for the rest of the event. But you know, we were talking about it. If you are back in the pack, you know you're back there. You'll give up maybe, the difference between finishing 20th and 25th and get a good lap. But if you're up near the front and you're calculating and driving, and then something happens and you never got that really fast lap, that's where you can really get caught out. And you bring up a good point. I certainly hope that Houghton, and it looked early like he had thrown in, he was running really quickly. So
yeah, we did. So I did see that a bunch of the cars dropped down to the bottom of the timing screen. They didn't drop off entirely. So what's going to happen now is they're going to reposition everybody where they should be. But I think what happened is they dropped down the order, maybe transponders not pinging or something.
Okay.
But all the drivers that went off track that we were talking about, that was the 212 of Andy Smedegaard, that was James Houghton. All of those guys, they had lap times in the 39, so they're going to be fine when it comes to lap time for race 2, provided they can fix whatever their demons were in this first race.
Yeah, you hope it's all minor, obviously. And, the guy that really, I think, is going to be feeling that, Houghton, too, to a point. But Andy Smedegaard came in here 2 points out of the lead behind Tomo. 2 points. And when you have a bad weekend now, you can't just throw away, drop one race.
Right.
It's a weekend.
It's a weekend.
And so, this is the first time he's by my record, that he hasn't earned any points. So that's going to be really difficult for him. I mean, he came in here with 4 wins at 8 podiums in the races that he ran. That's pretty stunning stuff.
Absolutely. And again, we saw in this race, again, one of the biggest, most important things we saw, or we didn't see rather, is contact.
Yeah.
And with 54 cars taking the green flag, we had a couple offs from people trying to get out for mechanicals, but 54 cars at GingerMan Raceway, and we didn't see any contact. That's great news, Greg. There might have been door ding somewhere in the field, but nothing major. That's great to see.
Absolutely. And we saw side-by-side action, but as is the hallmark of this series, there's so much great about GridLife Touring Cup, but to me, the best thing is the side-by-side racing sans contact. And that people can be confident that if you get that overlap, you are going to be able to. You've earned that spot. That driver will give it to you. And as the old saying goes, the worst thing you can happen if you give that guy that lane alongside is you're going to have a great race.
That's one of the that's in the rules, actually.
I
that
love
quote. As we head to race 2 later tonight, that's going to be at not quite at sunset. Sunset's pretty late here, but it's going to be in the evening. Track Temps cool, Greg. What are we looking forward to for that second race?
Well, I think it's going to be a really quick track. Now we do have some more stuff that is going to be coming out. We have another drift session and some more track battle. The interesting thing is after the drift sessions, there's a lot of clag that's on the track, whether it's the marbles from the tires from the drifters coming off, or they drop a tire, pull some dirt up, and the like. But we've got 3 track battle sessions that'll be out that should scrub that track, put a little bit more rubber down in the lanes. And so I think the track, when it cools off tonight, is going to be really, really quick. And I think that's going to promote some great racing, because when it cools and you get more grip, it opens up lines. So you can run a little wider line and be able to still be fast. The other thing of concern is going to be that time of day. From my reckoning, exit 1 and a couple other spots out there, drivers going to have low sun right in their eyes. So that's going to be something they're going to have to deal with.
Absolutely. We're going to head out and we'll be back with you for track battle and race number 2 a little bit later today. We're going to pass things over to Jarod DeAnda and Sam Nalvin, Greg Bussell in just a little bit. But first of all, let's thank the partners people to make this happen. Coverage of GridLife Midwest is brought to you by Hyundai. It's your journey.
At 303, we're always chasing perfection. Protect your ride with graphene nanospray coating. Now, boost protection, shine, and slickness with Graphene Detailer. Level up your detailing game. Harness the power of graphene with 303.
Ooh. Call Logano. Hey, Joey, you can save money if you fill up at Shell if you use Advanced Auto Parts Speed Perks.
Dude, I'm way ahead of you.
You saved at the pump?
Yeah, I saved at the pump.
The pump?
The pump.
He saved at the pump!
Woo! Now you can save at the pump when you shop at Advance Auto Parts. Learn more at advanceautoparts.com/gas rewards.
Now, it's my turn.
The more power you have, the more grip you have, the more you push the limits, the more stopping power you need. Get race-proven technology. Hawk Performance.
Hey, we still on this weekend for a little?
You know it. I'm in desperate need of some.
What about you, Jim?
No, my sister's getting the wedding. She's getting married, so.
When adventure calls, make sure you're ready to answer. Stable 360 ethanol treatment is specifically formulated for year-round use, so your engines will be ready when you are. Ready, willing, stable.
We've been powering the American road since before it was paved. Our first breakthrough in motor oil was introducing it. And we've been reinventing it ever since. From the world's first high-mileage oil to the world's first synthetic blend. There are those who change with the times, and those who drive them. Valvoline, the original motor oil.
Thank you so much for joining us out here. GridLife Drift is going down. You might not see us, but regardless, we are looking at a great track. GingerMan Raceway. I'm Jarod DeAnda. Sam Nalvin is with me, a.k.a. Drift Idiot. I love this human, but I also love the drifting that's going down. Sunglasses are off, baby, because guess what?
I need time to see.
What's that?
They're prescription. I can't just throw them around.
I know.
These are really hard to get.
I can't. I wear contacts. But we are here, and thank you so much for joining us as we are seeing some amazing drifting on track. Just warming things up as far as – no, we're not warming things up. Actually,
things have been warmed up. We're in our second session of drifting.
That's right.
The drivers are just now, if my ears do not betray me, getting on track. And we're dialed, we're wild. All the cars, minus the ones that we've already broken,
far from mild,
are out there right now. We've got Team Falcon. We've got Forsberg, we've got Jaeger, we've got party cars, we've got pro drivers, we've got pro spec drivers, we've got amateur drivers, we've got drivers that have probably never even driven a car before.
No, not at all.
But right now we got pros, we got bros.
Driven a car ever before?
Ever before, ever again?
Never, no.
Maybe. I think after this you don't.
And what's crazy is donuts will be on track, but also donuts are being delivered to us, and it might be a raspberry fade, courtesy of Colleen Hitzel. Thank you so much, Colleen. And but Adam LZ is one of the notable drivers out there because he's part of the RTR gang.
Yep.
So Ready to Rock. So we have Vaughn Gittin Jr., Chelsea DeNova, Adam LZ.
I don't think Adam's been here under the RTR moniker before. This is not the first Midwest, but this is his first time driving one of those RTR. I think we still call them Spec 5s.
Spec 5D.
Yep.
Spec 5D. So, yeah, the Mustang RTR Spec 5D is the vehicle that Vaughn Gittin Jr. has created. So the RTR brand overall, Ready to Rock, not for the average Joe. RTR is, again, it's 4 street cars, RTR Spec 2, Spec 5, and then the RTR bevy of brands has now entered into Ford Ranger, F-150, Ford Bronco Sport. They've won Ultra 4, Ultra, like King of the Hammer, like, so proud to see what Vaughn Gittin Jr. and the RTR brand has done. And hey, you know what? My man Sam Nalvin here is director of the Pharaohs. I'm so proud of you. I'm at a loss for words here.
But Mustang Mach-E 1400, the world's most wonderful wild electric vehicle in the world's most beautiful place.
And what was that video called?
It's called Free Reign Faroe Islands. Please check it out.
Yo, Falcon Tires are entering the building. We got that of JTP, Matt Field. That is Odie Bakshi's. Looking at Michael Essa in the building. George K is leading him up in that 370Z.
Fire it right off with a quick 10-car tandem train down corner 1. And then down the straight here at T2 and T3. Team Falcon out there. These boys have driven together at nearly every Midwest in very similar renditions, or actually these cars. But these are very reminiscent cars they might use in competition. But they are here to get probably a little bit more door bashing, a little more bumper dragging. Sometimes these cars get a little friendly with the other drivers' cars. But the Falcon boys are just, I don't want to say they're putting on a show, because they're really doing this for themselves and their passengers. If you come to a GridLife, do the right things, you can plausibly be in this passenger seat.
And what's interesting, too, is like we call them the Falcon Boys, but there are placeholders. Falcon is a brand. Falcon Tire, a absolutely insane sponsor of the of the GridLife Championship and GridLife Drift. But what they've done is, we're going shotgun, baby.
Yeah, we got our FPV chase cam.
I just want to
get in there.
I just want to pace it because we're going tight and then going wide.
Look at those smoke clouds too. This is maybe more smoke than I've seen at a GridLife.
This
is insane.
Yeah, this is an expression session for the masses. And what's really cool about GridLife, and I appreciate you tuning in, because those that are listening are exclusively tuning in either Twitch. We're going to get Greg Bussell here with 3 Gs and 2 Cs and 1 L. How do you spell it, Greg?
I have never spent the time to care. I love Greg, but I'm not going to learn his name.
Yeah, Nalvin. Sam Nalvin. It's really easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
easiest last name
great.
on earth.
Yeah. I apologize. I digress. But that is. Oh boy. We're looking at Chelsea DeNova, Adam LZ right there. Adam LZ. Oh man, he's doing some landscaping with that AutoZone Pennzoil RTR Spec 5D. And this is a takedown version of his competition car. So Adam LZ
When you say takedown version, though, you still mean it
700 horsepower.
Yeah, only 700 horsepower. You see
Yeah.
them also followed by Chelsea DeNova there in the Pennzoil RTR car. These are three absolute animals at the track. Vaughn, we haven't actually seen Vaughn drive a drift
We
car
have
at
not.
an event in a little bit. This is a return to drifting to Vaughn, for Vaughn at a public space. So
Oh, look at that. And you got to love Dirk Stratton up front there.
Dirty D?
Dirty D is in the building. Congratulations to him and his lovely wife, who are absolutely celebrating. They're going to have a kid.
Really?
Yeah.
How do you make that work?
I'm not going to tell you.
Okay.
You enter.
Can you talk to me after the show?
You enter the drift angle.
Okay.
And then you blow the smoke, and then it delivers. Oh, and we are understanding that Forrest Wang has entered the chat. So Forrest Wang. There's your boys right there.
Yeah, but before we get to Team Horny, that is their name. Let's hear from Greg and Forrest Wang.
Oh, Greg Bussell. What's up, buddy?
Here, Wang out here. First play, look at, he's the man, the myth, the legend. It's tough. Look, you're actually you're working on your own car right now too.
Just cooling it down a little bit. Track's awesome. It's like there's so much you don't see to this track because all you ever see is right here. Yeah. The back section's sick. Like your top four.
There's an apex over there. I heard you can get way too sticky on it, but I'm standing right here. I want to see wheel smoke. I want to see the force.
Yes.
Little glitchy, but no problem. As
That's just Greg. He swallowed an auto tuner. I saw him. He was getting ready for the set warm up for tonight for Cascade.
Yeah.
And he swallowed an auto tuner. So right now he's got digital voice box.
We call him G-Pain.
Yeah, G-Pain is
Yeah.
out here.
Yeah, G-Pain.
Speaking of
in the building.
Team
Hey,
RTR.
there's Vaughn.
Yes.
Vaughn Gittin Jr., the captain of RTR, followed by Chelsea Nova, Adam LZ, and you know what? I was talking with
one of these Supras that's acting as a camera car
yeah,
right now. That's
but
not,
you know what?
That's not Larry, is it?
No, Larry is in that car.
Okay.
Yeah, Larry is in that car. Larry Chen is in the Toyota, what they call, I can't think of the acronym. But these are the folks that actually build the Toyotas. But I know they're following Fords, but that is automotive celebration.
Yeah.
Right?
Amazing.
Like,
and the speed. Vaughn is
Yeah.
getting.
Look at Chelsea.
Yeah.
Chelsea not backing down.
One of my favorite parts about Chelsea is that whether it is professional practice or qualifying or actual competition or we're out here at Grid Life and having fun, he's going to bang some doors. He's going to turn it up to 11, as the tattoo on his back says.
Chelsea's bumper budget is out of hand.
It's out of hand. We gotta reel this in, guys. This is going to financially ruin me and or Vaughn.
And RTR.
Yeah, no. They can afford it. I imagine part of his contract states that, look, I'm going to go through a couple hundred of these bumpies a year. You're going to have to deal with it.
Alex Jager out front with that NOS energy drink, Nissan, what do you call it?
La Flama.
M56?
Yeah, it's a La Flama.
It's an M56, La Flama Negro.
And she's got
with
a VK.
the Ultimaniac.
She's got a VK Nissan V8
Yep.
that Chris used
Oh
to run
my
in
gosh.
FE. Followed by Chris in the Ultimaniac, which is a twin turbo VR motor that what powers your R35 GTR.
Mm-hmm.
Both of these cars are absolutely insane, and they have 3 passengers in them aside from the drivers, and they're shredding.
We're going to throw Cascade in one of those vehicles later on this evening. But Team Horny?
Yep, that's
Team
what
Horny
I mean,
in the BMW
it says it on the bumper. You can see it right there.
Was that an E46 wagon?
It's Dolphin. Is that your good
I was
Dolphin
trying to he calls me on the phone.
He used to call you on his shell phone?
E46. He used to call me on the shell phone.
That's a Dolphin joke. I don't know if you caught.
And then oh.
That's a reverse entry in a new way, I think.
Oh, man. Triple G is with JTP.
Just in time
Great.
for Terry Pollard.
Down to you, buddy. What's going on in the pits?
Another myth, an absolute legend in the scene. I say backwards, just trying to run over teams.
No, it didn't have a thing. Doesn't mean I run over things.
I see a little bit more aggression out of you than those people. Who are you really mad at?
I'm not mad at anybody.
Really? Okay. I also see that you have Japanese-inspired wheels on there. Is that an homage to when you used to have style?
Oh.
All right, back to you guys.
Greg, my goodness.
Greg is firing off. Greg is an angry elf.
We
just got to pick the scab.
He had to tune in his bandwidth, and once his bandwidth got tuned, immediately fire from the boy.
Yep. And there are the Mustang boys, RTR, ready to rock. RTG, actually, ready to grid life. And
wouldn't that be RTG?
Huh? Ready to grid life. I think grid life is one word. Like if you look at the copy in the top right-hand corner.
That's fair.
Grid life is one word.
That's fair. Can we figure out what?
G.
Yeah. Okay.
Yo! There is. We're looking at the praying mantis. So some of the names you might see, but also might not.
Yeah, some of the drivers you'll recognize right off of their cars, but then like we said, we got pros, we got bros. Some of the bros out here, Jarod, hit us. There's Forrest Wang right now.
Dude, let me rattle off some names. Chris Allen, Scott Allender, Chad Anderson, Odie Bachis. Of course, Odie Bachis is out here. Hugo Bechamp, Bailey Burr, Jared Bourgeois.
Oh, Forrest just had a little offie there. We saw Forrest working on his own car with Greg for one moment. And back on. Yeah, it stays on throttle for us. That's what I like to see. Forrest has always had the big wing game. Forrest Wang with his wings.
Forrest Wang thing.
Okay.
All right, so we're drifting on the track, and somebody who's,
should be on the track.
Don't call him a former drifter because he's currently competing in the Formula Drift, but he's also ripping out here. Greg Bussell is with Ryan Turk. Greg.
All right, boys and girls, right here. We're with it. Probably the best car here at Grid Life, actually. Ryan Turk, right? We have a shirtless Ryan Turk real quick. Ryan, I don't know if you want to. I like this, though. Number one question, does it drift? It does. It does drift. It's not out there drifting because he's here to accomplish another thing. Fastest track record, right? You're trying to beat the lap record? Not now. No, I could have sworn this car is going to beat that record.
Yesterday we were trying to do our thing, but yeah, the car is not going to be doing that today.
Mach 2. Mach 2. All right, guys. Best car at Grid Life. Come by, check it out. Back to you guys in the booth.
Yo, Greg. He is just shots fired.
You know what?
He's going
soon,
for
Turk.
the largest claims ever.
Get well soon, Turk. I hope you learn to drift again soon. But that V10 Judd powered Supra is an insane sounding car. I just talked to Ryan right before this. He said the problem is it's a little bit too sketchy right now. The car is so fast and so wild.
Really?
Full carbon fiber body. I've seen him do some crazy stuff with it on video shoots, but right now on the track going for speed, he says it's a little bit sketchy. Go figure.
What do you say? He's going for speed and he's going for distance?
Yeah, he's all alone, though, in his time of need, and that's what really bothers me. Yeah.
But he's racing and chasing.
I don't know where this song comes
Oh, okay.
from here.
Yeah, I
Nor
hate that
do
song.
most of the people
I actually
watching,
hate that song, so I don't know why I'm
really?
quoting it. Yeah.
That's a bummer.
Yep.
One thing you're seeing Ultimaniac there, Forsberg was saying that if he's not in a tandem line with the other car, the La Flama, if he's solo going down the straight here, before he initiates into turn one, he gets about 130 miles an hour plus before he is engaging and initiating and ripping that e-brake. Yeah. So he says like his initial initiation mark is way before where the traditional area is. He's hitting about a $130 before coming into this, which is a pretty fast drift initiation. Not even all things considered.
Think about
just
that
in
speed.
general.
Like, okay, don't do it, but saying do 130.
Picture
in
your morning
mind,
commute in
Yeah.
your mom's regular Altima.
Yep.
And then hitting a
I'm gonna rat off some names here.
Please.
Colin Zielinski, Shane Whaley, Forrest Wang is in the building, Justin Voss, Christian Ermanik, Blake Telmazak.
Can I say some names too?
Yeah, please.
Abraham Lincoln.
Yeah, you can, of course.
Kanye West.
Greg Bussell.
Greg Bussell.
Yep.
Way to say names, or who are these people?
These are people that are currently drifting.
And there's Mike
Yeah.
Melissa drifting, smoking out his own car.
Man. The FCP Euro BMW, he's competing, and I don't think no, that's not his comp car. He was supposed to have a four-door car. There's no way that's his comp car, please.
It could be. Sometimes the pros take their comps out here just to see if they can get them hit by other drivers.
I think that might be his comp car.
That would explain why he's driving alone, because he's trying to keep this thing unbashed, and also why he's very fast.
Holy cow.
That thing's hooked up.
Next week, that is his comp car. I'm taking. Oh, no, that's not him.
No, it's Team Horny.
That's Team Horny.
Yeah, as we see on
Team
the bumper.
Horny.
I do like that livery a lot.
The wagon and the. Woo!
Easy there, Maverick. You do not have permission to buzz this time.
Oh! Team Thorny.
Oh, my God, Jared, that's a good one.
I just looked down. I said, he's hitting the garden, and he's getting in the thorns.
That livery gets me, though. About that pink, about that blue.
That livery is a feel.
Yeah, it's got vibes. Speaking of vibes, are we going to see
GRIDLIFE.
some GRIDLIFE concert?
Yo, super hyped about this evening.
Yep.
Who is that?
I'm excited to see Cascades headlining.
Yo,
We got Wave Dash
Cascade.
before that.
Yep.
I'm pumped to see them.
Yep.
Ton of other artists that's firing up really soon. I think pretty much right after drifting, we're going to start hearing.
Very shortly, we're gonna throw Cascade in a car and
beautiful
some
effort?
other, personalities, and that's what's going down.
We got a stock livered S14 out here just shredding. I don't want to say stock livered. It's just simply painted. We don't see any logos on the door. He's driving for himself. He's a
Not
free
today.
man.
No way.
Hey, look at Nick Swan making that pose. Swan pose.
Oh,
so right
Swan,
now what he's
oh.
doing is attracting lady swans,
Oh.
just as the team gold diggers.
Oh,
are doing
gold
right now.
diggers dancing on the pole, dude. Working for it. Working for all the loonies, dude.
Are they Canadian? Are they
I think some of them are.
Is that a 2JE46?
I think it is.
I hear a little.
Yeah, a little.
I hear all the J's. Two of them going
Well.
for it.
Can't hear an LS because yours is broken.
I don't have an LS.
What was yours?
SR.
Oh, you're an SR still. That's right.
Not still.
Holy E30.
Yes.
Ooh, is that a trailer hitch?
Yeah.
The E30 slapping the base big
She's
time.
doing her best.
Is she?
Yeah, look at this. Look at it. Oh, he's got to huck it.
Oh,
Big
boy.
huck.
Oh,
Yes.
yo.
All
Doing
right.
some
I'm into this.
landscaping in the
Just
E30.
fitted. That throttle has not been
And
lifted
that
once.
thing is slapping
Yes.
the hitch big time.
Big time. How small is your tiny bass when you play it? Very-
Really high and tight.
Yeah.
Like
Tiny
a,
bass.
Like a,
Big time.
yeah.
Yep. Very good. A lot of wagon.
Ooh, wagon love,
Yes.
dog.
Oh, that's that Sabaru.
That's
that
the
you saw.
Subaru.
Yeah. So already
Right,
ruined the Sabaru. Front wheels disconnected entirely. I don't want to say ruined. Oh, do I hear a little bit of a...
Yeah, I hear flapping.
A little flapping
Little-
going on.
Dude, thanks to Hyundai,
Yeah.
FCP Euro,
Hyundai
all
was-
our sponsors. You can see the support of the GRIDLIFE Festival.
Hyundai was ripping some hard grip earlier, just like the guy in front of Forrest, and Forrest is actively trying very hard to get around. Forrest S15 is a sight.
Oh.
Under the hood, too, is as clean as the outside could ever be as well. It's a wild-looking car. Forrest is a fairly new dad as well. I think I saw a little Forrest.
About a year ago.
Yeah, little Forester down there.
Yeah.
Cutting down his own little trees.
I mean, yeah, he's a baby forest.
Yeah. What do you call that?
it? A garden.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
If you really think about it, Jaron, gardens are just baby forests. Wow. We've really broken some new boundaries today.
Michael has, who has two, planted seeds of his own.
Uh-huh.
He has two children,
Uh-huh.
2 daughters.
And are you going to remind me how that? I still don't get the process. Can you hook me up with that info?
What?
After the show.
The baby garden or how to have children?
I don't think this is appropriate, Jared. Need you to dial it in.
I want to thank eBay Motors. eBay Motors, let's ride. FCP Euro, every part you buy is guaranteed for life.
And longer.
Hyundai, it's your journey.
Right.
Momo, made in Italy since 1964.
I want Momo of those.
Falcon, the Falcon Azenis RT660 is the official club tire of Club TR.
Cooler than other bird named tire manufacturers. Their lawyers told me to say that part.
There's no other bird tire
That we know of yet.
better than
Yep.
Falcon tire.
According to the lawyers, don't quote me on that. I'm sorry if I'm wrong.
Ooh, who do we got? Who's that?
Beamer Boys.
Oh, Beamer Boys.
Oh, Beamer Boys,
Oh,
singular.
Big Duck Club.
Followed by, is that what it says, Big Duck Club?
Yeah,
That's
Big
what's
Duck
beautiful
Club.
about GRIDLIFE too is, we see some pros we recognize, and then, oh, who's this? Here's
Yep.
some bros suddenly bringing a big shred. But shutting it down, keeping the motor safe, keeping the tires alive. I don't know what they're doing. I prefer to see Monjing every straight, but I'll take this if I have to.
For me, there's
Oh,
Von Ginn
and now
Jr.,
here we
Adam
are.
LZ,
Back to it. Followed by Chelsea.
Chelsea Denofa, bring up the rear. But I do have to mention who was out there on
Please
track.
do.
Chris Allen, Scott Allender, Chad Anderson, Odie Bakshies, Hugo Bachamp, Bailey Burr, Jared Bourgeois,
I'm going to have to stop you.
Adam Buchanan, and
Forrest just did Days of Thunder, massive initiation into
Whoa!
turn 1. Through the smoke, he could not see the exit. Yeah, Forrest
Wang Thangs.
Being followed by that camera car, Supra, that kept up with him, which is pretty remarkable. Man, he's getting close.
Well, that vehicle supposedly has won multiple, I think it almost won one lap of America.
Really? So
yeah, but unfortunately the rain, no pun intended, rained on the parade. But what's cool regarding Toyota, that might be a Nissan S15, but it does run a 2J, which is a Toyota power plant.
We got Toyota chasing Toyota, even though it's kind of a BMW. We're not going to talk about that, though.
No,
I know.
You shut your face.
Yes, sir.
That is a Toyota Supra GR following a Nissan S15 with a Toyota 2JZ
Let's
power
just
plant.
say that it's a bit of a Frankenstein situation.
Shut your mouth.
Okay, yes.
I said good day.
But it's cool seeing Forrest do a full Unleashed fun run.
And I would have to assume that Larry Chen's actually riding shotgun.
You have to assume it.
Well, because I think that Larry Chen, obviously the photographer that he is, if you don't know who Larry Chen is, go and look him up. Larry _Chen.
Just Google
photos. Yeah. He's very fun.
Oh, that's our boy Dan. In that S14.
Danger Dan.
Yep.
Stranger Dan. Stranger Dan from St. Louis.
And this beautiful
STL Dan.
S14 that used to be owned by Will Rogue, one of the cameramen, one of the drone ops here today.
SFP.
This car has got some beautiful history.
Shout out to Specialty Field Productions, who is operating all of these things going down, and camera operations.
Danger Dan's in danger. Flag it on the fly.
We got Stranger Danger.
Yeah, I've got some aspirational S14 goals with that car, as in one that runs.
You know, with an S14, you're not truly an S14, fan or owner unless you have one that's broken down.
Yeah.
Right?
This requires a few good weekends.
Ooh,
Speaking of a good weekend, Jared.
What's that?
That's a segue to you on the weekend we're having with the RTR boys.
This is Friday. It's
the weekend.
Well,
oh my!
Yo, Chelsea wide swing, setting your boy Vaughn Gittin Jr. up. Adam LZ, Adam, where you at? Come on, get in there, get involved.
Chelsea,
get all up in them Mustang RTR guts. Come on, Hercules. Oh man, Chelsea always. I haven't even seen Chelsea physically this weekend. That's how insane it is. So just to create the FOMO even more, thank you for joining us online.
Yes.
But being here in the building is absolutely...
Chelsea's just losing them. I know it's not a competition.
Tactile overload.
But Chelsea, wait for your boys.
Yeah,
and
relax.
Vaughn's mowing the lawn trying
And that's
to keep
a
up.
testament.
Yeah.
And that's an absolute testament to like him
I
going
know
for
that
it.
the cars are probably dialed into like have fun mode. Do you think Chelsea, just to be Chelsea, is like, hey, put my car in kill mode?
Yep.
Let me smoke the boss.
Yep.
let me make boss go
Absolutely.
drop. Try to keep up with me.
Yeah, let me kill Bowser real quick.
Adam's just in the back watching, like, did I make a good call joining this team? Watching these two?
Hold my beer. Hold my beer. Wow.
Yeah, there's a beautiful relationship seeing Chelsea and Vaughn and Adam drive together because Vaughn, it's the whole thing.
Yep.
A nice clean E36 out here. Looks like we have two Falcon survivors that have made it this far into the session.
That's Odie Box's Matt Field.
Odie and Matt Field, pro drivers, about to get a little bit gnarly. Matt is drafting hard on Odie. Hold on, Jared. We have a spectacle about to be created.
Yeah?
See what sort of initiation.
Matt?
Okay.
Caution, wind, go.
Yes. Okay, Falcon boys, Odie and Matt, followed by La Flama and Ultimaniac with Forsberg and Jaeger. I say that right?
Yep, Jaeger.
Man, the smoke the Ultimaniac is putting out. That slammed twin turbo, VR powered Nissan Altima. brought by Valvoline. Yes. Look how low the roof line is on the Ultimaniac compared to La Flama. Jarod, where are you at? You looking at names?
I'm looking at what's going on here later today. GLTC is going down, and I think that there's a lot of motorsports fans that are tuning in and might catch a little bit of overlap. And overall, I think motorsports needs to be celebrated, and I'm really excited.
And you're here being the change. You're being
What's
the
that?
difference. You're making that change right now by celebrating motorsports with JTP leading ESSA right here with a very high speed.
I was getting emotional there, Sam. And
I know. And I want to be emotional about what Justin, Tyler, the Tool Man, Perry Pollock is doing out here. Do we even have a nickname for ESSA?
No. The gentleman.
The gentleman?
Yeah.
Okay.
Michael.
Michael, the gentleman ESSA. You can hear that beautiful loud
The
V8.
former champ, that is Michael Essa chasing down JTP. And dude, I'll tell you what,
Tell me.
What's really crazy about how poetic that vehicle looks is that it is violent up close and personal.
Which one? The Mustang?
All of them.
Yes, all of them, absolutely.
All of them.
Justin
like
Mustang.
all of the pro cars, like, look how, holy cow.
Yep.
JTP, originally from Kalamazoo, Michigan, his dad a baseball umpire.
Really?
I just can't. Man, the Pollock family, so proud. There's Field, Bakshis, and then in tow, that Toyota GR Supra will be filming with, look at, oh, Larry's getting the shot. Shot it by Larry.
Odie taking the inside line.
Shot. Larry shot.
Yo! Odie with the pass. Again, not a competition, but you know he's going to give him a little bit of a...
Call him the Chen Gang. Yo. That was so...
Okay, now he's going...
Insane.
Are they coordinating stunts here? They must
I don't even know.
They must be.
Well, I mean, Larry texted me during Formula Drift, and he's like, yo, can you do this? Can you do that? And
Larry always asking for the handouts.
I know.
No.
But the Chen Gang? Is
no,
that
but Larry will do anything to get the shot, which is the most beautiful. Well, what is going on right now? This is such a strange... I feel like they're doing an orchestrated dance here of passing and...
It's just like a weird, like, mating of...
Oh my god!
Oh my gosh!
Are they about to make a car baby?
They're about to make a Falcon.
Am I
baby.
gonna learn finally?
They're about to make a Falcon baby.
Oh my god!
Oh, there's
how lucky we are. How
There's-
lucky we are. Oh, let me hear your best David Attenborough.
Here we are, witnessing a Matt Field and Odie Bakshis.
The two Nissans lay in
with a
wait.
Larry Chen in tow.
One Nissan courts the other Nissan from behind. He sits low to the ground, so you cannot observe his intentions.
But mind you, the Ultimaniac is really delivering all of the Maniac.
Named for the Maniac.
He's not.
Which in
No,
Latin.
I'm out.
Which
I
in
got
Latin means
I got nothing.
the Maniac. Should we wrap it up before we accidentally get canceled?
I don't think there's any chance of us being canceled. But what is not being canceled is GridLife. GridLife continues. Thank you so much for joining us out here. GridLife Midwest Festival, South Haven, Michigan. Sam, any closing thoughts of like just the overall drift celebration that is coming down?
Look, I'm headstrong. I'll take you on. I'm headstrong. I'll take on anyone. I'm down with this sickness. I have nothing else to say about it. I'm very excited for the bands to come tonight. I'm really excited to see all of our friends and drivers out here. Again, this event, this GridLife, feels very special. We've been here for through the COVID, which of course, this is a new beginning for us. This is a rebirth of the event. And when I say we made it through, we still held events here. They were limited capacity. They were quieter events. Right now, we know there's still safety precautions, but we are doing this new energy. It feels bigger. It feels better. I don't want to say it's better than the last one. It's better than the last one. This is better than the last GridLife. The musicians are going to be fire. The drivers are fire. The announcer.
Thank you so much, Sam.
You're welcome.
Sam Nalvin, Greg Bussell, I'm Jarod DeAnda, and that is Chris. No, that's Alex Jaeger. The party continues. That is Grid Life, and it does continue throughout the day, going into tomorrow. So thank you, Specialty Field Productions, on what they do, as well as all of the team that is Grid Life and Grid Life Drift. And man, super excited as we are seeing so many people and companies, including Momo, made in Italy since 1964. Hyundai, it's your journey. FCP Euro, every part you buy is guaranteed for life. eBay Motors,
Wait,
let's
hold on.
ride.
We're seeing that 130 mile an hour. Look at 130 mile an hour initiation.
Ultimaniac, he's going so hard right now.
Yup. Speechless. All right.
Thank you so much. Grid Life. Party continues. Send it!
At 303, we're always chasing perfection. Protect your ride with graphene nanospray coating. Now, boost protection, shine, and slickness with graphene detailer. Level up your detailing game. Harness the power of graphene with 303.
Ooh. Call Logano. Hey, Joey, you can save money if you fill up at Shell if you use Advanced Auto Parts Speed Perks.
Dude, I'm way ahead of you.
You saved at the pump?
Yeah, I saved at the pump.
The pump?
The pump.
He saved at the pump!
Woo! Now you can save at the pump when you shop at Advance Auto Parts. Learn more at advanceautoparts.com/gas rewards.
Now, it's my turn.
The more power you have, the more grip you have, the more you push the limits, the more stopping power you need. Get race-proven technology. Hawk Performance.
Hey, we still on this weekend for a little?
You know it. I'm in desperate need of some.
What about you, Jim?
No, my sister's getting the wedding. She's getting married, so.
When adventure calls, make sure you're ready to answer. Stable 360 ethanol treatment is specifically formulated for year-round use, so your engines will be ready when you are. Ready, willing, stable.
We've been powering the American road since before it was paved. Our first breakthrough in motor oil was introducing it. And we've been reinventing it ever since. From the world's first high-mileage oil to the world's first synthetic blend. There are those who change with the times, and those who drive them. Valvoline, the original motor oil.
Ferris Cartooney, 183, and sets a blistering new track record. The end of the first day of competitive action at GRIDLIFE Midwest here at GingerMan Raceway in 2022 is near, but we're not quite there just yet. A couple more sessions to finish out our Friday here in South Haven, Michigan. Hi, everybody. Kyle Heyer, joined by Greg Kramer for a Friday's worth of racing, time attack, and drift. Greg, we finished up our drift for this afternoon on the broadcast, but we've got track battle and GLTC still left on the day.
Yeah, and that's a lot of fast stuff that's going to be coming out, and we are so looking forward to it. We're going to be racing in the GLTC race as the sun's starting to dip low in the sky, so that's going to change the dynamic a little bit. But before we get there, we've got track battle going on, all their groups. And the good thing for the GLTC guys is this track battle group is going to clean some of that stuff off the track that the drifters always leave by. It's just how they run, and that's no problem, but it'll clean that track up a little bit for the race itself, and we want to give all 55-plus cars an opportunity to have as much track as they can race on. Certainly, as we move our way into Track Battle Group A here in just a moment, some of the fastest time attack cars in North America are with us here this weekend. We saw Ferris Cartooney set a pretty quick lap this morning, or earlier this afternoon, I should say, but he had trouble, and we never really saw or heard what happened, Greg. I did run into him, and the issue was, he said, they've been fighting a leaking seal on the water pump. And he said it started to get hot, and he said obviously there's a lot of money into that engine, so we just shut her down and pulled off. But he said he didn't have his transponder was not in the car, but he said the people that were scoring him, it was a 124 something. That's fast. That's knocking on the door of the track record for this category. Yeah, so he was pretty pumped about what he can do when he gets back out now. And in theory, you see the safety crew here, and Adam Jabay is the dude in the cowboy hat. He's out there literally leaf blowing the track clear of the dirt and debris from the drift session. He does it all. He does it all. And Jabay guy. He's our motorsports lead here at GRIDLIFE, and he puts in his heart and soul to making sure the racetrack is clear and ready to go racing and track battling. And he gets out there and gets his hands dirty. Oh yeah, I mean he loves it. You can tell. I mean he's a hands-on guy, and it's absolutely great. Wanted to mention, too, that the car that's paddock right next to us that you were talking about, the Toyota with the Formula One derived engine in it, went and chatted with them a little bit. It's a Judd V10, which has raced in Formula One. They've used that power plant. It's also powered Ferraris. They had a tendency to put them in the back of the Ferrari 333 in the early IMSA days. It's run at Le Mans in numerous configurations. And the reason that it is such a popular engine is it never has made maybe quite the power of the factory-built engines, but it's far more reliable. It just runs. And so they've wedged one in there, and wow. It sounds amazing. The track actually kind of gets silent when that car rolls out. The wail of the engine is the only thing you can hear because everyone just wants to listen to it. Just to hear it, you bet. And that's Ryan Turk Racing with Ryan Turk behind the wheel out of Derry, New Hampshire in that 2020 Toyota GR Supra in Unlimited. So that's the number 4. I think that spins up to something like 17,000 RPM. That's enough, I think. Yeah. That's like a motorcycle engine I know, at that point. Insane. It's insane. So we're just waiting for the track to clear up here for the beginning of our Group A drivers. You mentioned that Ferris Cartooney was knocking the door of a 124. Well, the track record here at GingerMan Raceway for Unlimited in rear-wheel drive was set by Ferris last fall at a 124.116. The Unlimited record across all the drivetrains was Will I Young's 123.7. Now, if the track temperature has come down a little bit, we could expect he could pick up a couple tenths of a second. I think the dirt and other debris from the drift session might impede that for a little bit, and with Group A being the first cars on track, they're going to be the one that gets all that on their tires, but we'll see if Ferris hangs out for a couple laps or if he'll be the first one out. We actually don't even see him in the lineup here. Well, and that was exactly what I was going to say. If he's smart, he's at the back of this queue, he's going to wait. And let them go out. Of course, there's always the risk of that, of there being a black flag or a red flag for some reason. But I think for him, it's well worth it. Wait, get some of the people out in front to just kind of clean that off a little bit, and then go out and just scorch one. And it's not only that the tires are going to, respond a little bit better. When that sun gets a little lower in the sky, even if the temperature is still up there, it's less acute onto the track, and the track cools just a little bit. And then you add on top of that the fact that as it gets a little cooler, which it is, right? Any engine likes cool better because there's more oxygen packed in when it's a gas, and when gas gets hot, it expands, so there's not as many molecules of oxygen. And then you run it through those turbos, and you're compressing an awful lot of additional oxygen, and the engines just love that. So I love this, that they're out there trying to give it as much of a cleanup as they can before they go out.
I was going to say, Adam's got a leaf blower. This guy brings out the big guns.
Exactly.
I want that for my leaves in the fall. How about that?
Yeah.
That'll get the job done pretty quick.
15 minutes, done.
Absolutely. Yeah, so he's rolling just down the back straightaway between turns 2 and 3.
Look at the crowd, man.
Yeah, we're packing
Isn't
them
this amazing?
in.
This is wonderful.
Friday night, this is our first headliner this evening. Of course, we got Kavinsky and Cascade here this weekend, and glad to have you on board with us for GRIDLIFE Midwest, and the coverage has been fantastic this weekend. Big thanks to all the people. There's a dozen people behind the scenes that you don't see, you don't hear from, that are making this happen for us this weekend. A lot of late nights and late decisions and cramming things in to make it work, but somehow every year they make it happen, even if it seems impossible. I wanted to give a shout out to John Raymond down there on the grid. He's the handsome man with the radio in his hand on the left with the GRIDLIFE logo across his chest, right by that cone on the white line. I like John Raymond. He's a good guy. I was laughing. He gave me his helmet to bring to Atlanta Motorsports Park a couple of months ago because he didn't want to fly with it. So I drove down with it. I took it home with me because he didn't want to fly back with it. I've had that helmet for 3 months. It's still in my car, and I haven't had a chance to bring it to him this weekend.
That's what was pinballing around in the back when I was out there. Okay.
Yeah, he's got.
I'm sure it didn't hurt it.
Yeah. So I have my helmet back there too. So I owe John Raymond a helmet. So.
That's funny.
Yeah. So he's great. He's running the grid down there when Adam is not present, and John does a great job.
Is Adam just pulling up in his car. You know, the interesting thing too is with that big crowd. What I've been loving is, you know, even though a lot of them may be here more for the music, the banks, anywhere you can find a spot to stand and watch, whether it's Drift, Track Battle, or GT or GRIDLIFE Touring Cup, the banks are just packed with people. They are enjoying the motorsports immensely. And as you said, it's speed meets sound. Motorsports meets music, however you want to put it.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
And it's a blending of different communities, right? Because there is a motorsports community here that some people don't care about the music; they just want to be here for the motorsports part. There are some people here that come here just thinking they're going to care about the music, and the car is just a sideshow. They get here, they realize, no, it's not. This is part of the main show here at GRIDLIFE Midwest. So everybody here learns really quickly about the other side of the planet and when it comes to entertainment, and we blend all those things together. And bringing in a younger audience, it just feeds the motorsports, and the motorsports feeds the music, and it's a positive reaction there. It kind of reinforces itself. So that's great.
You know what it sounds like to me?
Sure.
Like it's pretty inclusive.
It sure is inclusive. We were talking about motorsports inclusivity. That's our kind of motto around here. Thanks, Greg. We bring you in because you're good like that. Wanted to point out a couple cars we're looking at right here on the grid on the left. That is the Vibrant Performance Acura RSX of Will I. Young. He is the the front wheel drive track record holder here in Unlimited. That's actually the fastest. The fastest lap we've ever had was Will I. Young back here in 2018. Not in this car. This is going to be a track mod entry for him this weekend. Just to the right rear, that green S2000, that's the ASM Super K, typically driven by Alex Moss. Alex couldn't make it, so it's going to be either Andy Smedegard or Tom O'Gorman behind the wheel of that car. We're not going to know. They're both equally capable, so they're going to be at the top of the street modified running order. We're just not going to know who ran it.
My guess is it's going to be O'Gorman for two reasons. One, when they were out before, Tomo was taking pictures, so I'm guessing Andy was in the car. In the GLTC race, Andy had a diff failure. So they're changing out the diff right now. So my guess is it'll be O'Gorman.
Gotcha. Okay, so ASM Super K back with a vengeance here to go for some records. The number 70, Dewey DeWitt for IAG Performance. He's in that blue and purple car that is kind of lined up diagonal. Mike Amick pulling in next to him. Jason Kanakri's in that McLaren 600 LT, then David Calzada in the 174. That's the red and white Miata. Cal Fortner on the Al's Auto Body Mercedes AMG. That's a very pretty-looking car. Again, new livery on it this season. And Cal was previously in an Audi S4. And this is really an upgrade. He was running street modified before, but this is definitely a performance upgrade.
I mean, that's a stunning car just to start with. And having it dialed up for this is going to be just phenomenal to watch with all these machines. We're going to sit here and just kind of keep an eye on it and see if and when Ferris comes out.
Car's rolling. And also in line, the 86. Again, that's Alex Lee from PhD Racing. In for Jackie Ding, who is out with COVID this week. Wishing him a quick recovery. And Dallas Reed, here comes a fun car. The blue RX-8.
Look at that. Yep.
That's got pipes and wings, and it's kind of what's the word I'm looking for? Steampunky.
There you go. Yeah. I think that's a great way to describe it.
Yeah. Lots of rivets on that thing.
Yep.
More cars coming on the racetrack now. Alex Artea, that's that black and orange M4 in the background.
Something that a Sherlock Holmes villain would have built.
Yes, totally. And again, talked about Calzada earlier, the K-Power. It's a K-Series Mazda Miata that's running in the unlimited category. Big slide by the Subaru in the background. Cold tires, getting those things heated up and ready to go. Again, as before, once we get the timing and scoring up on the screen, we're going to show you not only the timing and scoring that'll have color-coded boxes next to each driver for the class, we'll also show you the class key and show you what class is what color. But basically, it runs like this. We've got Super Unlimited in black, Unlimited in red, Track Modified in orange. We've got Street Modified in teal. Then it'll be the Street GT in yellow, followed by Street in dark blue, then Falcon Club TR in gray, then Falcon Sunday Cup in pink, and there's one other one I'm forgetting, probably. Maybe I'm not. I think that was all of them. Here comes Will I Young. Start a lap.
There it is. Here we go.
Again, he has the front-wheel drive and overall track record in grid life competition here at GingerMan Raceway. And sailing through turn one, again, another driver from the land of Canada that we haven't seen in a couple of years. Throttling up again. This car isn't quite to the level that his Honda Civic was, but this car, I think they had another Civic that they've built, but it was set and geared for the Pikes Peak Hill Climb, so it wasn't quite set up for this track.
Right,
Yep. Off into turn 4, just the left-hand kink. Into turn 5, that thing is definitely going quick. 5 and 6, tuck it in tight here at the apex of 6. And throttle up. And front-wheel drive, we haven't talked a ton about the different dynamics of a front versus rear-wheel drive car, but inherently when you add power, the car is pulling itself, and you're adding a lot of tasks for the front tires to do. And when you're turning and you're accelerating, it eliminates your ability to do both well. So you kind of have to fight a lot of understeer in front-wheel drive cars on power. But if you have them set up well with a really good front differential and a really good driver knowing what he's doing, then you're going to be in good shape.
Well, and one of the things that you can do with a front-wheel drive car is because it has that inherent push, you tend to get your braking done more in a straight line and then come off the brake pretty quick right as you turn in. So all that energy that's been absorbed by braking gets transferred into the turn-in, and that gets the back to rotate just that little bit. And then with a front-wheel drive car, the nice thing is you just point the front wheels where you want the car to go. So if you can get that little bit of rotation on turn-in that nulls out the push, then you can go to throttle and just shoot out of the corner. So it's a lot of more straight line braking with a little later apex sometimes, and then just speed it throttle and just let it pull you right out of that corner.
133.126 for Will I Young and the track mod 113. And again, comparing the track mod record previously, coming into the weekend, Michael Puglisi has the best track modified all-wheel drive time. Front-wheel drive, though, is a 133.206 by Andrew Stidle in the spring of 2019. So now, Will I Young's 133.126 is a new track record for front-wheel drive in track modified.
That is wicked quick. Well done.
Here comes the unlimited Ryan Turk Supra. Ryan Turk Racing into turn 5. That Judd V10 you mentioned, Greg, there is not anything here. I'm sorry. There's nothing that sounds better than this car.
There's nothing. There's no question about that. It is just sheer motoring technology inside that engine, and it revs so incredibly high, and it's pipey. So when it's down in the rev band, it doesn't have a lot of torque, but when it hits, and so if you can keep it up in the rev band, that thing is just going to be a missile.
So we'll see when he gets back to the stripe what the lap time is going to be. Again, it's set in unlimited, so it should be fairly quick.
You would think.
And
yeah.
again, for reference, the quickest lap that has ever been run in unlimited, we've just mentioned a couple of times, Will I Young back in front-wheel drive unlimited in 2018 was a 123.775. I'm not sure that this car is, without aero, is quite set up to do that, but I'm curious what it will put on the board here as he brakes for turn number 11, carrying a lot of speed down into the braking point.
Nice.
And up onto the straightaway again. Turk again is a drifter, so from grip to drift across the line. We'll see what he trips on the timing and scoring. Turk goes a 138.379, but just getting his feet wet, I think.
Just starting, yeah. And you saw on the exit there, he gave up maybe 6 feet where he could have run a little bit wider and just carried a little bit more speed through that corner. He's working up to listen to that.
Oh, look at it slide. I love that, Greg. Oh, so much power, so much sound. Into turn 3 again. He's still getting after it. And this is some of his first laps at speed here this weekend. He was just kind of testing the water earlier. Oh, man, that's a good sound.
It is exquisite. It is exquisite. And keep in mind, folks, when you see all of these big aero devices, the honking splitters, the massive wing overhangs and the like, they don't just give you grip to get through a corner. They give you grip to brake with. And the more downforce you have on a car, the deeper you can brake. So he's got a ton of power, huge straight line speed, but he is not going to have anywhere near the ability to brake as late as a Ferris Khartoumi or some of these other guys are. And when you have immense speed, you have to brake sooner anyway. But without that big arrow on the car, he's going to have to really check up a lot sooner, and that's where he's going to lose time. He isn't losing time in a straight line, believe you me.
Through 10B, up onto the back straightaway. Again, next time he comes around, we'll let you just listen to it. Yeah, I want to hear it again, too.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Look at the speed it's carrying, though.
When it accelerates, it's just...
All right, we're going to let you listen to this. Let's do half a lap to a full lap. We'll see where it leaves us here. Here we go, Ryan Turk Supra. All right, well.
And did you see that adjustment he made coming out of 2, where he short shifted, went to a slightly the next higher gear, and it eliminated that wheel spin and slide, and he was able to drive a lot harder and straighter out of that corner. Those are the adjustments, because as you said, he hasn't really got a lot of fast laps here, so he's not only working on the car performance, he's working on driver adaptability to get the most out of it as well.
So have a look at the timing and scoring here. You see Will-I Young and Puglisi at the top of the board in track modified in this session. Those are the top 2 times. We have not seen Ferris Khartoumi yet, so still could be at work trying to get that car set up. Then Alex Lee in for PhD Racing in the TA90 Supra. Here's a look at one of our Ford Mustangs. Again, there's a handful of these running around the racetrack here this weekend. And that, I think, is that the 350 car? Yes, it is. That is Luca behind the wheel of that car. I think it's Steve Luca?
Yep, Steve Luca, and he's 9th right now in the overall, 2nd in Street GT at a 137.6. Oh, we got somebody. Oh, there he is.
That's Steve Luca, yep. And
he's just a tick off of Cody Hunt right now in the 176. He's got a 137.2 in this session.
Yeah, Serpentstangs Racing out of Hendersonville, Tennessee. It's a 2017 Ford Shelby GT350R. And that is a Street GT entry. Again, that's a class that's sort of built for the cars that are kind of around the horsepower and weight of American Muscle. The Toyota Supra you can throw in there as well. Rear-wheel drive, large displacement engines. You can't really do a ton to your car in this category, but you've got a lot of mostly stock suspension, brakes, tires. And that's basically it for most groups or most drivers in Street GT. I like this class a lot because you don't have consumables on cars like this can get really out of hand when you start getting bumping them up in power.
Yep.
Talking about consumables, how about Cal Fortner in the 14 for the Mercedes-AMG? I talked to the Fortners. They were saying this car has just been a dream to work with so far.
Really, yeah.
It's been super fast. They haven't had to do a lot to it, and surprisingly, it's been very easy on the equipment, and they haven't really wrung its neck super hard yet. It's been out at COTA, and I think this is its first time at GridLife this season. At least on the broadcast, we haven't seen it yet.
Well, the GT version of this car that we see in GT3 racing is the drivers that drive it love it because they say it is one of the most user-friendly cars. It does everything well, and it also maintains its platform stability. In other words, you don't get a lot of roll and pitch in the car. So you'd think, all right, well, that's simple. You just stiffen it up, right? Well, normally you get a car that has that level of platform stability. It's not good over bumps of any kind. And those Mercedes in GT3 racing, especially GT4 as well, they just eat up curbs, and it doesn't upset the car at all. They've really got that suspension dialed, and now you add this level of additional performance in it. This is going to be a very, very good piece, I think.
Fist out the window, heading to pit lane for Cal Fortner. So as he stands, he's down the order just a little bit. But again, Will I Young, Michael Puglisi, Alex Lee, Mike Amick, Jason Kanakri, Dewey DeWitt, Cal Fortner, and lead down to Fortner, 5 of our street mod competitors in a row.
Covered by a second and a half.
that's unbelievably competitive. Remember, this is Group A, so this is the fastest of our street mod cars, and Lee is leading right now, and that's a fantastic outing for him. Street GT, pretty close as well, only 4/10 between them. Look at Ben Lynn. He's got a brand new Advanced Auto Parts livery on that car this week for the Gears and Gasoline 65. Turk ran a little quicker that second lap. We were just listening, a 37.7. Calzada in Unlimited, 38.3 in that Miata. Down the list a little bit, a couple of drivers we haven't talked a ton about. Nick Gardner in the 52. That's another one of those Ford Mustang GT. I think it's a GT 500 that he's got, the 47.5. As we continue to roll around here, is that the Corvette? It's a C7 Vet, I think. Here is the ASM Super K, and I was told, I could be wrong about this, I was told that this was Andy behind the wheel, but I think you might be right. It must be Tom, right? I have to get a look at the helmet, which I'm not sure we're going to see.
Yeah.
Off into turn 1. Here comes ASM Super K. This could be right on top of the board in Street Mod as well. This is a K-swapped S2000 with a BMW-sourced sequential paddle shift transmission, and it hauls.
Yeah, I bet it does. And either of those drivers are, extremely competent, so.
Super K, you see a 21st, no time recorded, but that will change very shortly up through turn 4 and into turn 5 and 6. This car just went on the One Lap of America journey a couple weeks ago. Andy and Tom were in different cars at that time. Andy was in a Corvette ZR1, and Andy and Alex Moss were competing in this car.
Oh, okay.
And it was kind of neat because they could actually retune the electronics to be a little bit more friendly for street driving because of all the driving you have to do in the One Lap of America. That's a cool thing you can't do with a manual transmission.
That's a really good point, yeah.
Oh, a little bit of dirt through turn 8. That was hauling, now up into 9. And Super K is going to sail off into turn 10B now and come back to the stripe, wiggling and wobbling on the brakes, getting every bit of it. If I could just tell by watching the driving, I'd have to say that looks like Tom.
Yeah.
But I don't know that for certain, so I can't say.
Yeah, we're not absolutely positive, but I can't imagine Andy would have just said, hey, found somebody walking around going, here, do my diff for me.
Yep. Andy's a very hands-on kind of guy, and he'll fix it.
Well, when I walked over there, he was under the car working on it already. So
here we come across the line. ASM Super K, does it jump to the top of the board in Street Modified? It does, a 134.463, and to the top of the board in Street Mod. Big slide through turn 1. A little bit of a celebration slide, I'd say.
I would think.
Wow.
Well earned.
Holy cow. And in terms of Street Modified times, the best Street Modified lap time ever, Jackie Ding, a 132.008. We're not far off of that. Here is Ferris Khartoumi's number 72.
All right. He is out on his out lap, so you said he was... The record is a 124.1?
In rear-wheel drive, that's the record that he is trying to break. I think there's also some pride in breaking the overall GridLife ever track record in the unlimited category, which was done by the front-wheel drive Civic of Will I Young, a 123.7. So that's kind of the time I think Ferris is shooting for. And this car has been so fast and so successful that he's kind of been in a class of his own.
Yeah.
And I think at this point, every track he goes to, it's not only breaking GridLife track records, breaking overall all-time track records. We should also point out that Jackie Ding, by the way, when we ran at Heartland Park, beat their all-time track record, which was previously set by a Formula 4 car. So, or Formula 3, something ridiculously fast and open wheel, very lightweight. Here comes Khartoumi now. Cross the line. Wow. Off into turn 1, starting a flying lap. Oh, really wide through 1. I think that's going to be a throwaway.
Yep, that's it. Smart move now is just
he's
trundle around.
Yep. Hear it backfiring from half a mile away.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, I'm curious to see if he's going to try to go again or if he'll call it for this session. He's still got a lot of power in it now. But again, they were kind of running out of time in this session, so I'm not actually sure how long he's going to have.
Well, that may be it. Maybe he might be hustling it around to try and get underneath the checker before it flies.
Yeah, I did hear that GridLife Touring Cup is going to be delayed about 5 to 10 minutes. I think they're sorting out a grid order issue.
Okay.
So we're going to have maybe a little extra time in our track battle sessions, but we do have other ones to get through, including Group B after this, before we take a brief moment to reset for GLTC. And then that will be it for our coverage of GridLife Midwest for Friday. We'll be back again tomorrow just afternoon. And we'll see if Ferris can get back to the stripe. A lot of backfiring from that car.
Yeah.
And I don't remember it doing that.
I don't either, but generally when we've heard it, he's not just, coasting around either.
He is hauling now. Look at the speed he's carrying.
Yeah.
And he's going to go for another one.
You can see how much deeper he could go on the brakes before he went to the brakes because of that arrow. Oh, and he slows.
Yeah. Well, still goes to the top of the board.
At a 128.5 on a cash lap.
Yeah, 128.5. Unbelievable. That's just so fast. All right, so Group A.
Oh, I wonder. Oh, yeah, he's just saying.
Going to turn it back.
I wonder if he's got that overheat issue again.
He could.
That's the problem when you're dealing with something like that. Is you got one lap, and then otherwise you just have to stop and get it towed in. So he's trying to help everybody out here by just getting off track.
Well, wasn't a record lap, but it still put him at the top of the pointy end of the run there. Big shout out again to ASM Super K and ASM in general, just jumping straight to the top of the Street Mod board. That class is so competitive this weekend, and it has been a very competitive class. I think last year we saw it really go head-to-head between Alex Moss in Super K and Jackie Ding in the 86 for PhD Racing. And even with their different drivers behind the seats of both of those cars, they're still first and second in Street Mod. So you can take the driver out of the car, but you can't take the car out of the top of the running order.
Exactly. Yeah, the car is doing the job. There's no question about that. And you notice there that on that lap, we think it was O'Gorman, but if it was Andy, the car, it was twitching a little bit under braking, and it was just these little corrections, but no lurid slides. And when you have a slide that's more than what they call the slip angle of the tire, all that does is rob speed, because now it's side friction and it's scrubbing speed. And so he had none of that. It was just a little correction, a little slide correction, and a little twitch under braking, which means he's just on the limit and the car's dancing on the brakes a little bit. But there was no scrub of momentum there, and that's how you get laps like that.
Cars on track for Group B here. You're watching GridLife Midwest coverage from GingerMan Raceway in South Haven, Michigan. I'm Kyle Heyer, joined by Greg Kramer. Been a great day of action so far. We've had one of our 4 GLTC races, a couple of our track battle sessions, a couple sessions of drift to mark the weekend so far. And up tonight, when the track goes cold, the stage gets hot. Got tons of musical talent getting on the stage later for all sorts of EDM.
The number of bands that are here for that is just stunning. It's superb.
We have a poster that you can buy on site. You saw the poster?
I did. I did.
It's great. It's got cats on it, which is great.
Yeah,
I like cats.
I like cats too.
But yeah, so there's 100 of those, and only 100. And
that's a lot of cats.
Yeah, no, not 100 cats. 100 yeah, so there's 100 posters. If you want a poster, you have to be here, and they're going to go very, very quickly.
I would think.
So, again, you're missing a lot if you're not here with us, and we hope you can join us next time. Have a look at our schedule on grid.life and check out the rest of the schedule. We've got our other festival at GridLife Alpine Horizon and Pikes Peak International Raceway in Fountain, Colorado. That'll be in September of this year. And GridLife Circuit Legends, an all-new festival type. No music at that one, but Legends of Motorsport will be joining us at Lime Rock Park in Lakeville, Connecticut. We've got some of the circuit legends from the last 30 years, some of the best race cars, the prettiest, the loudest, the coolest sounding will be joining us for a concourse event and some on-track track battle action. We'll have GLTC and, for the first time ever, drift at Lakeville, Connecticut's Lime Rock Park.
Yeah, I counted 14 bands on the poster, and then at the bottom, just because that's not enough, it says more to be announced.
All right, cars on track now. There is Chris Boersma again in the K-tuned Honda Civic. It's been a couple of years since he's been back with us, and he is running in that track mod entry. And setting up, he's on a flyer right now. We'll follow him around and see what he can set on lap number 1 of this session, which was shooting sparks out from under the splitter earlier. And one of the things that you'll see drivers do, we talked a lot about aero so far this weekend, Greg, but they'll put like basically titanium skid bars underneath their splitter, because what will happen is if you get that splitter too low to the ground in the front, you're going to stall it out. You're not going to get enough airflow under it to really be effective. And you see all the diffuser under the rear of the car as well. That's to channel air and try to suck the car to the ground as well and streamline the airflow under the car. If you don't get air under it, you can't have that happen. So keeping a little bit of ride height is actually pretty important.
Well, and that's, if you watch Formula One, one of the big stories this year has been the porpoising of the cars. It's kind of a similar deal because, as you said, when that drops, if it drops too far, it closes that gap up completely. And so for an instant, you get massive downforce, and then it rebounds, and you lose everything. And so it is a really, really spooky situation, especially if you're at 10/10ths heading into a corner, and you hit the brakes, it dives like that, and you lose all the grip at the front of the car. So it's smart to have those little things that just ensure you have that certain amount of ride height.
So Boersma second right now in track mod in this session at 139.778. Chris Bickford in the 335 is on track as well. He's the quickest guy in the session so far. Feingold in the 623, that's a street class car, 139.363. Sam Bosnian is back. This time in the 625 at 139.881. Look at how close those times are at the top of the board amongst 3 different categories, including Westergaard. There's Bickford in the Camaro. Hawk brakes on the side of the car. GLTC sponsor this season. Heading up the back straight. That's a very pretty car.
It really is. Just great graphics package, and I've always thought the lines on those retro Camaros are pretty sharp.
They are sharp, and I've heard also that they're really well balanced dynamically, shockingly, considering their weight and their mass in general. I've heard Tom O'Gorman tell me that he thinks a really great GLTC build would be one of the 4-cylinder Camaros. He thinks they handle. He owned a V8 automatic for a couple of years and brought it autocrossing and tracked it and really loved that thing. He ended up getting rid of it to buy his S2000 race car a couple of years ago.
Well, you got to have priority.
Yeah, of course. But he loved that car. And I think a lot of people really enjoy that platform. But again, once you start getting up into those muscle cars, more weight, more consumables, more brakes, more gas, more tire, it starts to get pricey pretty quick.
Yeah, brakes and tire especially. Those are the elements that'll bankrupt you in a hurry here.
There's the 114. Again, that's Bronson McNeil.
Listen to that Miata.
Yeah, not a lot of Miatas sound like that.
No.
McNeever's had a pretty good weekend. He's, again, a track modified entry. And right now, he's quicker than Dalton Klein, who's got a Corvette. So that little Miata with a big power plant. Look at the hood, got a hole in it.
Yep.
And everyone knows that an engine that has a hole in it with engine parts coming out of it, not explosively, that's a faster car than one that doesn't have that.
Exactly. Yeah, that's not OEM.
Cars that shoot fire are cars that are better than don't shoot fire.
There you go. And I love the, it looks like the injector stacks of the old V8s and, the glory days of Can-Am and Formula 5000 out the front of that car. It just looks mean.
Through turn 8 and 9.
I wonder what a big lump like that up front does to the balance.
You have to wonder, right? Because Miata is a pretty lightweight car. I mean, the NB generation was 2,250 pounds, 2,300 pounds, somewhere in there. And again, the weight balance in those cars stock is pretty good. So when you put a big block of iron in the nose of it, you have to imagine that it gets it pretty front heavy. But the trade-off there is that you've got so much more power that you can kind of power on oversteer and keep it from understeering. So I'm sure it shifts the balance, but the trade-off is you got a bunch of torque to play with.
That is true.
Rotated.
That is true.
I mean, you're really exploring the limits of what that chassis will take before it just twists itself into oblivion.
I would think so, yeah. Oh, we got a black flag?
Yeah, black flag is out. Black flag would signify that everyone is to return to pit lane. And typically that is as a result of fluid on the race course or a car off track that needs to be attended to. And again, we don't have eyes on exactly what that is. I should also note our Falcon Club TR competitors. Ben Thorne at a 141.039 has jumped ahead of Dana Basinski. So Ben Thorne right now in the Gears and Gasoline Valvoline sponsored Civic rides 11th on the timing tower at the moment. Dana Basinski, again, KD6, the nickname for that car, runs 14th overall, second though in Falcon Club TR. And those two, as they did last year, are going toe-to-toe for the championship this season again. Honorable mention, Grant Davidson, who's here this weekend as well. Acura Integra GSR, Acuity Instrument sponsored. That car will be up in the mix in the points, as it always has been.
Yeah, Ben's good lap in the session, a 141 flat.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid time. And we talked about Club TR again when it was first introduced. The idea behind it was to give to create a class for a lot of the cars that traditional time attack sort of excludes, because time attack is a builder sport, but it's also you also have the other end of it that's you kind of a spec sort of environment, right? You like the Falcon Sunday Cup is very spec in how it's set up. You can do different things. You don't have to have that set of brakes and that that anti-roll bar or something like that. But you do have a spec tire, the Falcon RT660. But we needed to find a class that would kind of lump in all the cars that kind of you have to drop huge motors into or put 50 grand into to make quick, at least super competitive, right? S2000s, Miatas, the FRS and BRZ platform. Those are all cars that if you do too much to them, they get out of hand really quick. But in most other classes, they just wouldn't be super competitive. So Falcon Club TR is set up for that. It allows engine swaps, which is really cool.
That's nice.
And so Ben Thorne, again, not running the engine that would traditionally come. Neither is Dana Pazinski. That's a K-Series engine in that 86.
So it sounds like it's a class where you could take a GRIDLIFE TC car and run it in there.
Yeah, sort of. It's sort of built the other way around.
Okay.
I guess the idea is if you have and this is not, it's not perfectly like this, that there's a bit of a difference in the power to weight structure of GLTC and the way the rules are written for a Club TR.
Okay.
But the intention of the vehicle pace is really similar. So it's hard to go backwards from GLTC to Club TR, but to go from Club TR to GLTC with some modifications to the parts that you're choosing, you can get yourself in fairly easily. I think we're going to see that. I know I talked to Dana. He really has intentions someday of getting into GLTC.
Oh, that'd be great.
And if that happens, I wouldn't be surprised to see another ASM car. But this time, not an S2000 join the camp.
Right. And the nice thing is give people the opportunity to get out in track battle where it's, you're not doing door-to-door. You're just working on speed and pace and all of that. Get to a point where you really know that car, get comfortable with it, get comfortable with other traffic around you, and then say, all right, I'll make the minor changes instead of having to throw another ton of money at it, and let's go door-to-door racing in GLTC. That's a great plan.
Yeah, and again, Falcon Club TR, one of my favorite classes. We had 24 cars in that class when we went to NCM Motorsports Park a couple of months ago. That, I think, was a record for the number of cars we've had in a single class. I mean, remember, GLTC has a field size of 54 this weekend.
Yep.
At 24, that's a racing field in most places. I mean, you could
Absolutely
grid those cars up and run them door-to-door like that. I mean, we're really quickly approaching the point where they could be their own run group. And I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen later this year.
Progress and growth, it's a great thing, isn't it?
And again, I think you said it yourself earlier this season, or earlier this weekend, I should say, that if you think grassroots racing isn't doing great, just come to a GRIDLIFE weekend, and I'll tell you, it is doing great.
Yeah.
And all motorsports in general is doing great. You look across, I know IndyCar's got a huge resurgence happening. The Indy 500 wildly successful. NASCAR's Coke 600 was a fantastic race. Monaco was a great watch as well. Motorsports across the world really feels like we're seeing a resurgence, which is a great thing for everybody, right? Because it starts at the grassroots level.
Yeah, and you're right. It does start, and that's where you start to build your fan base, and then obviously, the fans will broaden their approach if they like, and start watching some pro racing and the like. But all the way to F1. I mean, think about it. We went after the Indy Formula One races ended. We went a fairly long stretch without any Formula One race in the U.S. COTA came along. We had the one. This year we had the Miami Grand Prix sellout in its first year. It was mega. Next year we're adding Vegas. So in the course of 2 years we went from one Grand Prix to 3. And they won't do it unless there's demand. And there's clearly demand now. And it's because of the resurgence. And a lot of it begins grassroots.
And there are some exciting things coming even within the GRIDLIFE paddock in terms of wheel-to-wheel racing, Greg. GRIDLIFE Touring Cup has been a wildly successful experiment, but it's proof this weekend we have a full grid. We need more. So I don't have all the details in front of me right now, and I can't list them all to you. I do know that there is a provisional rule set, and there will be, at some point this season, a test of a new wheel-to-wheel series in GRIDLIFE that will have and include a couple different lengths of races throughout the weekend, including a 3-hour endurance. So we're going to take our single-class format and our sprint racing and transplant that over into a 3-class format with sprint racing, a mid-length race, and a long race all together in one weekend. And our top class will be GLTC. We're going to have 2 other categories. One of the classes is going to be based heavily on B-Spec and Sunday Cup. So that's what's coming later this year. It will be not at an event that is currently on the schedule. We'll have more details about that later. But if you want more wheel-to-wheel racing in your GRIDLIFE life, there's more coming.
There's more coming. I love it. I love it. And the thing is, the rules package here. One of the things that a lot of people bemoan about other endurance racing series is it's 5, 6, 7 classes, and it's difficult to follow. Well, with the GRIDLIFE rules package, when you can get this disparate level of cars to be able to run in one class, that I think is hearing this now is really exciting, because you could have some awesome endurance racing that's really easy to follow, because it's just positions. And I think that's really big.
Yeah, and again, GLTC was designed to eliminate the multi-class thing that you get in most grassroots series, where you always got traffic and you can never really focus on your single class. But now we've got the driver base. Let's expand it out and have 2 separate wheel-to-wheel racing environments, and you can run 1 car in both or 1 car in either. Yep. Lots of choices. In a couple minutes, I think we're going to take a quick break before we head into GRIDLIFE Touring Cup race number 2. If you're watching the calendar that is on grid.life or gridlifemidwest.com, GLTC race 2 is scheduled for 7:15. So that's about a half an hour from now. Group C is going to be coming up here shortly, but I think for the time being, we're going to take a brief step away. We're going to show you some ads from the partners and people that make this happen, and we should be back relatively soon for GLTC race number 2. Again, 7:15, so about 30 minutes from now. We'll bring you back around, let's say 7 to 7:05. We'll be back with the intro for that race. So stick around. We'll be back shortly. Coverage of GRIDLIFE Midwest is brought to you by eBay Motors. Let's ride. And coverage of GRIDLIFE Midwest is brought to you by Momo. Made in Italy since 1964.
At 303, we're always chasing perfection. Protect your ride with graphene nanospray coating. Now, boost protection, shine, and slickness with Graphene Detailer. Level up your detailing game. Harness the power of graphene with 303.
Ooh. Call Logano. Hey, Joey, you can save money if you fill up at Shell if you use Advanced Auto Parts Speed Perks.
Dude, I'm way ahead of you.
You saved at the pump?
Yeah, I saved at the pump.
The pump?
The pump.
He saved at the pump!
Woo! Now you can save at the pump when you shop at Advance Auto Parts. Learn more at advanceautoparts.com/gas rewards.
Now, it's my turn.
The more power you have, the more grip you have, the more you push the limits, the more stopping power you need. Get race-proven technology. Hawk Performance.
Hey, we still on this weekend for a little...
I'm in desperate need of some...
What about you, Jim?
No, my sister's getting... the wedding. She's getting married, so...
When adventure calls, make sure you're ready to answer. Stable 360 ethanol treatment is specifically formulated for year-round use, so your engines will be ready when you are. Ready, willing, stable.
We've been powering the American road since before it was paved. Our first breakthrough in motor oil was introducing it. And we've been reinventing it ever since. From the world's first high-mileage oil to the world's first synthetic blend. There are those who change with the times, and those who drive them. Valvoline, the original motor oil.
flies, and we're racing.
The height counter pushes Jensen along the exit of turn number 4. This win. It's big fly! It's time to go racing at GRIDLIFE Midwest. Hill side by side. O'Gorman around the outside now for the top spot. Tom O'Gorman goes to lead. 3 wide the lead.
This is great racing, folks. This is what this series is all about.
The fastest growing wheel-to-wheel racing series in the Midwest is here at GingerMan Raceway in South Haven, Michigan for GRIDLIFE Midwest here in 2022. Hi, everybody. Kyle Heyer, joined by Greg Kramer for our second race of 4 this weekend for GRIDLIFE Touring Cup, a power-to-weight racing class, single class, 54 cars on the grid, Greg. I'm so excited to go racing again.
It is going to be spectacular, and obviously sun setting a little bit, so now visibility is going to be a little bit of an issue, but we also have the temps have dropped just a little bit, the sun being a little lower in the sky. The track's going to be even racier, and I'll tell you, in that first race, we had some remarkable drives that were put in. We also had some drivers that had some issues that are going to have their work cut out for them. 1, just to make the field, and 2, to be back and competitive. But we've seen what they can do in this paddock before. It is going to be a superb run.
Well, we had some timing issues in that first race. Our decoder stopped working and kind of flubbed some of the times. So our grid 2 is usually set by fastest lap from race 1. Because of the timing issues, we had to revert to our qualifying session from earlier today. What that means is that Andy Smedegaard will resume from pole position. He had a differential failure in race number 1. That's what took him out of the race. And I look up that grid at the top of the screen. I see a Smedegaard above a window. He had to replace that diff. It looks like he's done it.
Wow, that's an incredible job. But we've seen them pull off miracles in that Andy Smedegaard racing or motorsports program before over the years, haven't we?
Yeah, we certainly have. We're here at GingerMan Raceway. Again, this is a very popular grassroots track here in South Haven, Michigan, just a couple miles away from the eastern shore of Lake Michigan. It's 2.21 miles. Let's go through a lap here, Greg. It all starts with a run down to turn number 1, a fast second, maybe third gear corner, left-hand turn, then into turn number 2. This is a very flat corner, really challenging. You have to lean on your tires.
You can, and it actually climbs about apex out, so you can actually commit a little bit deeper than you would think. Then that short chute, you build speed. 3, blind turn in, and it falls away at turn in. Tricky little corner, then flat out through 4. 5, you just sort of breathe it, set up for 6, get out of 6 strong, and then that chute up into 7, Tom O'Gorman said this turn is all about patience because you've got to stay out wide, then cut in to get through 8 to set up well for 9, and that takes you up to 10.
Yeah, then after turn 10B, you're going to accelerate up past the kink, up a little bit of a hill, and towards turn number 11. Probably your best and cleanest passing opportunity. It's at the fastest straightaway in the GLTC car, 125 miles an hour at the top end, into the braking zone, down a couple of gears, and right back onto the front straightaway to do it all again. We don't do a lot of laps. We don't do a lot of time here in GRIDLIFE Touring Cup. These are very short sprint races. On the short end, they're about 12 minutes. On the long end, they can be about 20. Somewhere around 15 is where most of them end up being. We got a 15-minute countdown to kind of signify roughly when we're going to checker. And that's kind of the beauty of this, right? Because we can kind of choose. We don't have to worry about green, white checkers. We don't have to worry about ending under yellow. That happens sometimes, but we have the ability to kind of meld and mold the length of the race to suit the circumstances of the day. And earlier today, we had a lot of cars that were kind of scattered around the track with different issues. So we had to checker a little early to clean that all up. One of the cars was off in the tall grass. There was a little bit of a concern that there might be a fire over there, in potential for a fire. So had to get that car out of the grass, and that's why we checkered a little bit early for race 1. Race 2, though, expecting a full race. And again, I think with Andy Smedegaard up on the front row, and James Houghton was chasing a cooling issue, as you found out.
Yep.
I think everybody that was in race 1 with issues, I think almost all of them are back ready. Houghton's on grid row number 2, so he looks like he's set to go.
That's great to see because he was really, really quick, and looking forward to see what he can do if that car stays healthy. Getting back to the track here, it doesn't have that huge elevation change that you see at some tracks. I think Tom O'Gorman put it really well. He said, this track has texture, and he said because the drops are light and subtle and this and that, but every one of them is very consequential to a fast lap and your ability to race here. There's tons of runoff. It's one of the safest tracks in the country in that regard. But he said, you get to that 95% of speed around here easily. The last 5% is really tough, and it's because of that texture. You get a blind apex and a drop. You get this happening, track falls away, then comes back. So you've got to learn the nuance of this track to be really quick. And this is one of those. I love this. The nickname for this part of the track is called Deep Demon. and I understand it because you come up from the top there at turn 3 on your left. At this section of track, you flow a lot more speed through 5 than you think, and then 6 is a lot tighter than you think, and you better be ready for it.
I want to give a big shout out to our operations team around the racetrack at a couple of corners. You see on the far left of your screen those A-frame sponsor boards.
Yep.
We had those, got those in late last night. Mike Cohn, who's our pace car driver, Charlie Enslin, and we had a handful of others that went out real late with one of our tiny trucks about midnight and went out and laid those all out in the dark, and they nailed the placement of those things.
Yeah, it's
big,
great.
Big shout out to those guys for getting that done. They work so hard, and big thanks to all the partners and people that had their logos printed on those boards and supporting GridLife. So big thanks to the operations team and Mike Cohn. He's behind the wheel of our very special pace car. We actually had a pace car lottery to pick the pace cars for this weekend. The RX-7 that we saw earlier was one of those cars. I think we got a GTR lined up for this one.
Oh, nice. Going to love that. Now, and one of the things, folks, when you're watching these shots of this track, you'll notice there's no paved runoff. There's no gravel trap. The only extension on the track at all is an exit curb here and there. And which means that you can run off. You're going to be able to get back on. It's very safe. And I said this, before the first race. The track limits rule here at GingerMan with GridLife follows the Mario Andretti concept of if you don't want me to drive on it, don't pave it.
It might actually be a Fiero that we've got. I think that's the only white car that we have on the list. We have a handful of them. The one we saw earlier was a Mazda RX-7. Again, that was a really pretty car. But we're heading now down to our Fiero, which is going to be our pace car for race number 2. We've had a lot of unique pace cars in GridLife Touring Cup history. We had the Wienermobile pace us a couple years ago at
awesome.
Alpine Horizon. That was an interesting one because the Pikes Peak International Raceway infield road course is really tight.
Yes.
And that truck is not exactly set up for nimbleness. And it was leaning around and it really was struggling to make the corner. We had an R32 GTR here last year pace the field. We've had old Chevelle pace the field a couple of times. We have all sorts of really neat pace cars, and the contest is just part of it. There's that Fiero as we get the pace car rolling, and the cars will roll off behind them. They're going to get 2 laps behind the safety car before we turn the lights off and turn everyone loose. Going back to our race 1 grid order, I guess we'll read the top 20. I'll do the top 10. You take 11 through 20, Greg.
All right.
Top 20, Andy Smedegaard again from ASM alongside his ASM teammate Tom O'Gorman, who picked up the race 1 win earlier today. Row number 2, Viking Performances, Jeremy Swenson in the number 30. Then K-tuned James Houghton rolls off in position number 4. Paul Curley and Robert Thorne share row number 3. Then it's Matt Walbaum and Kerry James in row number 4. Row 5 is going to be Eric Jensen in the 184 for G-Speed and Jeff Preston from Miata Hubs in the 47.
Starting 11th will be the number 3 of Eric Meadows, and 12th will be the number 484 of Matan Rosenberg, who had a great drive up into the top 10 in the first race. Starting 13th, the 42 of Zach Lavoie, and the number 469 of Ryan Kristoff, who had a bit of a problem in the first race. Then starting 15th, the 777 of Ronnie Solomon. That is one of the ASM cars. And the number 16 of Jacob Price, who also had an issue in that first race and finished a lot farther deep in the field than they would have liked. Starting 17th, the number 7 of Justin Lee. And in the 18th spot, the number 26 of Louis Chatroop, who ended up with a great 11th in that first race. And then starting 19th, the number 13 of Ryan Upham, ended up 17th in that first race. Chatted with him. He said, we're right now probably where we should have been at the end of the day yesterday in terms of setup. So he said, we're getting there. We're going to be really strong tomorrow, we think. And then starting 20th, guy who had a really good run, 20th to 12th in that first race, the 99, former World Challenge driver Andrew Raines.
He'll have to do it all again, though, in this one, unfortunately. For some drivers, it was a benefit. For others, a loss. Going back to Louis Chatroop, though, you talked to him earlier, and you had a great story about the last time that Chatroop was out here and about the car that he has here this weekend.
Yeah, exactly. When he came here and ran last year, his mom was not doing very well health-wise, and he was talking to her, and she said, no, you go race. She had co-signed the loan for him to get the car, and many years before. And she said, no, you go race. He said, she's my biggest fan, and she told me to go race. So we went. It's the first time he ever made the top 10 shootout and nailed it, ended up 4th in the top 10 shootout, had a great race going, and then ended up getting tipped and dropped down the order quite a bit, but was still absolutely elated about his performance. Got on the phone after the race to call her, found out she passed away while he was gone. And he said, but he said she, like you said, co-signed the loan on that car. And he said, I'm having a really good weekend, and I'm in a really good place here. And he said, I was wondering why. And he said, I got to thinking about it. He said, Mom, I've had this car for 22 years. She co-signed the loan for it. She supported me. I think she's right there with me. And he said, it's such a great feeling to be back here because she loved watching me race here. Isn't that cool?
It's an amazing story, and there's plenty like that, right? Of course, Louis Kattrup is one of over 50 competitors here this weekend that all have amazing stories. We've talked about stories, even for the guys that have been up front a lot. Tom O'Gorman, his story, it runs pretty deep. He is a two-time winner in the IMSA Michelin Pilot Challenge Series, a two-time champion in TCA competition in Pirelli World Challenge, in the TC America Series, and of course had a couple years off of pro racing, and then during the pandemic purchased his S2000 race car to race here in GLTC. Had a lot of trials and tribulations running on his own. Found Andy Smedegard up in ASM shop up in Plover, Wisconsin. Those two got together to build Tom's current car, and now Tom is a regular up in front every week. But you wouldn't know that if you looked back about 2 years. Tom, working on that car on his own, trying as hard as he could. It's not easy, and help from ASM and team has really made it look that way.
And that's one of the things that you don't think about sometimes, particularly at the grassroots level, is the amount of passion and dedication that these drivers and teams put into this. These aren't big shops, most of them. Some of them are sizable, but a lot of them are guys that have a full-time job, work on the car at night, and then come out and race on the weekend and do an absolutely superb job. And it's kind of like all the corner workers at races and the grid workers and the like. They're as passionate about this sport as anybody behind the wheel. They just maybe don't have the wherewithal or the skill. They may have tried it and said, yeah, that's not for me, but I love the sport. And so the passion runs so deep in grassroots motorsports because the people are here not for fame and fortune. They're here out of pure joy. And GRIDLIFE, as I've learned now in these last 2 years, is maybe the consummate provider of joy at a racetrack, and that's really cool.
I think this series punches above its weight in so many different ways. We have, again, at the back of the field, you just saw there again, the Hart, Alabama Honda Odyssey minivan and the Rudd's Racing Chevy S10 pickup truck that is trailing the field here. Those are two of the very unique builds in this series.
That they are.
Again, the idea is, we've got cars that kind of look spec in nature, the K2000s, the ASM cars, the G-Speed Vets, but there are so many different ways to skin the cat in this series, and we've seen a lot of different builds and styles be successful. I think it really helps, the drivers in ASM certainly are no slouches either. They keep those cars up front all the time. James Houghton, though, very different build. Front-wheel drive, relatively lightweight, but designed to go fast in a straight line. We thought a track like this would be challenging for him. If he didn't have the mechanical, I think he would have been right in the mix in the last race.
Exactly, and his time, qualified fourth, was only 0.4 off of Smedegard, not even half a second. So obviously they've got that car working well. And you're absolutely right. One of the cool things about this series is when you look at the car and you see the profile of the car, that doesn't tell the story. Not the whole story by any means, and that's what's really fun.
They change out the beating hearts in these things quite a bit. I'm not sure that there's a car in this grid in the top 15, maybe other than the Corvettes that have the engine that came in the car. So lots of unique builds and scenarios here in GRIDLIFE Touring Cup. Time for race 2, though. 54 cars again on the grid for our second race of 4 this weekend. More racing tomorrow. Again, if you'd like to learn more about this, head to grid.life to learn how you can become a GRIDLIFE Touring Cup driver. If you've got a class at a bunch of other grassroots series, you could probably race here with that license. Out of turn number 11, packed up, paired up, 20 rows deep. Time to go racing, 15 minutes on the board. Green flag flies, and we're racing again at GingerMan Raceway.
Oh, did Jensen Swenson got a great start. I thought he might be able to thread the needle between those two ASM machines. That didn't happen. It looks like Smedegard's going to hang on to it, but boy, I'll tell you, Swenson was ready. But look at Houghton, up and around the outside.
A little bit of dirt and dust flying in the background in turn 1 as they exit turn 2 now. The run up to turn 3. ASM S2000's going toe-to-toe. Andy Smedegard, Tom O'Gorman, as they did in race 1. Smedegard leads the way, drops the tires in the dirt. Houghton and Swenson battling for third place. Houghton gets through.
Wow, what a move. And oh, look at James bouncing through the dirt there.
Up and clear. We get to turn 5. Smedegard, O'Gorman, Houghton, and look at Kerry James sails down the end. Oh, no, that was Robert Thorne, rather.
Is that Thorne?
It was Thorne that got down the inside of Curly. And look at Waldbaum now, side by side with the 44. Drag race up to turn 7. Waldbaum finally gets the pass done on the 44 and completes that in turn number 7.
Well, that was a heck of a start by Thorne. He started 6th and was on the hammer immediately, and a really aggressive move, nice pass up front.
Wasting no time to get forward. You don't have a lot of time to play with in this series. Here's a good battle. Waldbaum, Kerry James, and Eric Jensen. That's an LS Swap FRS chasing those two, the M3 and the S2000 ahead of them.
Just feeding it up into this really, really crucial corner here.
Waldbaum a little
Nice,
wide on
yeah,
exit.
a little bit.
Just behind him, that's Eric Meadows in the number 3. That's that silver Miata chased by young Matan Rosenberg, the 18-year-old out of Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh, Matan got a nice exit, didn't he? Oh, and here comes James maybe on Waldbaum.
Can he get, big dive on the brakes into turn 11. Waldbaum leaves the space. And through turn number 11, I think Waldbaum will carry the speed, but now Kerry James will be able to drag race him towards turn 1 again.
Yeah, and that's that overlap rule, and these guys, they play it to perfection, and it works. And that's one of the really cool things about it here. And looking back, Waldbaum, James, Jensen in that mix, Meadows right there. Meadows in that earlier race ended up finishing well down the order, had an issue. This is an opportunity for some serious redemption for him.
Yeah, and Kerry James again keeping the pressure on Waldbaum now into turn number 3. The sun getting low in the sky. The fans have lined the fences here. Thousands of spectators have come for music and motorsport here at GingerMan Raceway. The background, look at Andrew Raines side by side with Louis Chatroop. They're door to door. I think that's either Felipe Gonzalez or Jake Jornstad chasing the duo as they head towards turn number 5. Scott Robertson, who was involved in that collision, he's back on track. That is Upham, Wes Penn, and Wes Case all in the line. M3, Miata M3.
Ooh, look to the inside. And that wasn't so much an overlap issue. It was that 767 going to be able to just get that turn done without pushing out wide? And Wes Case got it done. Boy, it's close quarter stuff up there.
Not quite the overlap to get the Red Eye Racing M3 down to the inside of Wes Penn's new livery on this car, the 113. Seen this car around quite a bit in GRIDLIFE Touring Cup over the years, and looks really pretty. Dropped a tire there at corner exit. Look at this pack. That's Scott Robertson chasing Fiona Liu in the 88 ASM car. Look at this gaggle behind Christoph. That's, again, Andrew Raines. I think that's Chatroop, and then it's Upham, the other Performance Zero Works car, and then one of the Myriad Motorsports S2000s.
Side by each as they come running down that back straight. I figure we're close enough to Canada to throw that in.
Certainly. That is, looks like Jornstad in the 23.
Ooh, late move, and got it woed down before he got into Christoph. So that was a nice bit of overtaking there by Raines.
And where has O'Gorman gone on the timing and scoring screen? Smedegaard, Houghton, Swenson, Thorne, Curley. O'Gorman is missing. We'll update you when we have information on that as we continue to follow this battle here just outside of the top 10.
Christoph Raines. Love the colors and graphics on that number 23 of Jornstad. Just a really pretty package. Oh, was that...
Yeah, Paul Curley was a long ways off track. He's got all sorts of mud and dirt on his car. There's Christoph again in the 86 CRX. Raines, another car dropping tire here. A lot of dust flying around at corner exit, using every inch of the road.
Well, you know what? Some of this, I wonder, is normally we would have had, another couple of time attack sessions on the track after the drift. And the drift guys do tend to pull some dirt and debris up onto the track on occasion. And I wonder if that's maybe part and parcel of this here, as we're seeing a lot more of that dirt up in the air.
Oh, here comes the Myriad Motorsports 9 Live Racing car. This is actually teammates here. Joel Morrison in the 9 Lives Racing car is now a Myriad Motorsports member. So those two S2000s, that's friendly fire there between those two.
And just trying to track. Yeah, O'Gorman now is shown
50th
at this stage. And only one lap in the book. So don't know what happened, but...
Strong start. Not a great finish
launch.
Today, no. First and almost dead last in back-to-back races. Again, we talk about the point structure. It's not going to be a good weekend if that trend continues. Here's a battle for third. Swenson and Robert Thorne.
And that one thing we know about the BMWs is they're really good on the brakes. But how about, and as I was about to say it, Houghton suddenly comes out of one, slows, and pulls off to the side.
Oh, that's heartbreaking for Houghton again.
From second.
That's going to shift the order now. This is a battle for P2 between Swenson and Thorne. Look at the pack behind him. Curley, Waldbaum, and the 44 Kerry James. But I hope Houghton can get far enough on track that doesn't trigger a caution. We've still got a long time left in this race. We don't want to have to send trucks out to go get Houghton. So I hope he pulls off far enough we can continue.
You know, Robert Thorne, when he ran a World Challenge a number of years ago, he was running McLaren 570S's in the GT3 category, I bet you right now he's having more fun.
I hope so. There's not a lot of racing that gets much better than this,
nope.
Especially at the grassroots level. But this is a fantastic battle. Now for second place, Jeremy Swenson, reigning champion in the Viking Performance Corvette. There's Paul Curley holding off a pack of his own. Eric Jensen sliding around in the LS Swap Vet. There's Eric Meadows. Oh, big slide there by Ron Solomon in the ASM S2K. There's Zach Lavoie. And Justin Lee and Luke LaGrue's old number 7. There's Lavoie and Matan Rosenberg. If you want to find a smile, go talk to Zach Lavoie. He's got one for you. Yeah. And Matan Rosenberg keeping the pressure on, though. I'm sure Lavoie is very focused right now.
Yeah, well, those two right now, their duel is they're just one spot out of the top 10, currently held by Ronnie Solomon, another of the ASM cars. So you know that Zach Lavoie, who's part of that team as well, and Matan would love to keep him behind him and go after him.
On board here with Joe Tullo, a rookie here this weekend. Great shot there, chasing down the hill. 1986 BMW that Tullo's got here this weekend. Here's Rains closing in on Ryan Christoph in the braking zone, and Upham closing in as well. And here comes Chatroop, another Performance Zero Works car. 1, 2, 3, 4 all in this pack, battling for position.
Well, I think Upham and Chatroop are going to be really pleased, especially Chatroop, because he got that car on Wednesday when they did the swap and put the Honda engine in it. And he said it handles great. We're just working on power applications right now. And I think he's going to be pretty thrilled with that ride right now.
Definitely. Chasing each other down towards turn 3. Rains keeping the pressure on Christoph. Upham keeping the pressure on Rains as they stagger through corner number 3. Very different power to weight ratio, or very different power levels, I should say. Very similar power to weight ratios, despite the differences in drivetrain, front wheel drive, rear wheel drive in that group. Lightweight Honda-based car, BMW-based car, BMW-based car.
There we go. But all 4 of them running Honda engines.
Yes, that is true. K-swaps in the Performance Zero Works car. That's funny how that works. Here's Chatroop again, more friendly fire between these two. Both these cars on the same team. Upham's way sideways through 7 and has his teammate hot in tow.
That's that wonderfully tricky corner. Here we go. Thorne right on the rear deck of Swenson. Is he going to be close enough? Because we know that BMW can get it done on the brakes. Here he comes.
Oh, late on the brakes. Not close enough. Not enough overlap behind him. Curley, and I think that was...
Oh, big wiggle by Swenson. That could give a big opportunity by Thorne down into the braking zone of 1, and Swenson immediately tries to cover. What happens down into 1?
Side by side for a moment. Here they are to the inside. Thorne gives the bumper to Swenson sideways through the first corner. He gives it back. That was friendly of him. Through turn 2 now. That's how we race in GLTC, Greg.
That's right. That was just a little chrome horn. Just, hey, I'm here. Don't forget about me. But up front, Smedegaard,
checking out.
You know he's obviously, given that golden opportunity to start up front once again, wasn't about to waste it.
So great battle for second. Smedegaard has gone. Behind him, Paul Curley and Matt Waldbaum are having a great scrap amongst themselves. But this battle for second got hot very quickly. And Thorne back at it again, trying to chase this Viking Performance Corvette down. And I think the Corvette, as the race goes on, those tires like to overheat. So that will make this Corvette a little bit more unwieldy towards the end of this 15-minute race.
It's going to be interesting to see, too, what Waldbaum can do here, because his best finish came at the most recent round. I think in the last of the 4 races, got his first podium. And right now he sits 5th, was 6th in the race earlier today. So he's got some motivation here as well. But I'll tell you what, right now, Thorne is being exactly that into the side of Mr. Swenson.
Oh, a little hot into turn 10B behind him. Look at Curley, overdrives 10B. Waldbaum tries to cross him up, side by side. Woo, this is a good battle.
He is inside. Now it's a drag race, and you would think that would go Curley's way here.
I think it will. Again, this is a V8 versus a K-Series 4-cylinder, and there's the drag from the wing on the rear of the ASM S2000 as well, but right in the braking zone again, closes back up. He's right to the rear bumper of Curley through turn number 11.
And again, the problem is when you get, even though you may be faster on a lap, when you get behind the guy you're chasing, unless you get by him quickly, you've got to run his speed, and it kind of negates what you're capable of doing. So I wonder if we're going to see Matt get a little creative somewhere here.
Going to have to.
Yeah.
They don't give him to you. Waldbaum running in 5th right now, a solid day, but he knows there's a position he can get with the right run at the right time. But where the advantage is going to come into 10B, it's after that long sweeping section where Curley's car is not going to be as nimble or as downforce laden as Matt Waldbaum's car. Again, the wing makes a big difference at high speed.
Yes, it does. It does indeed, and of course those heavier vets, they just tend to drive the tires off a little bit, which means you know everything you do you have to start doing sooner. You have to slow down sooner. You know, even turn in a little sooner on occasion. Oh,
Eric Meadows dropping down the order just a little bit. Solomon got by him for 8th. And here we go again. This is where Curley's car is going to begin to suffer in these high-speed sections, and where Waldbaum is going to find advantage. He needs to get alongside and maybe clear in 10B. Here comes the run. Waldbaum around the outside of 9. That's not going to work. Tucks in tight through 9. Looks driver's left. I'm not sure that that's the line you want out there, but he's going to try it. Now tucks back under. Couldn't quite make it stick.
Boy, Curley put that car exactly where Waldbaum would have wanted to go on an over-under move. That was a savvy bit of racecraft by Curley. He just parked Waldbaum, didn't give him the lane.
On board again with Joe Tullo from Medina, Illinois, and chasing the 55. And through the fast section of the backside of the racetrack, Tullo again, new driver to the series. White flag, 1 lap to go here. Or checkered flag, rather. Checkered flag. It's Andy Smedegaard gets it done in the 212. Wins the race here in GRIDLIFE Touring Cup race number 2 at GingerMan Raceway. Swenson second place, Robert Thorne. Then it's Curley and Waldbaum. I have to imagine Waldbaum's going to be a little frustrated with that last lap there, but you got to get it done somehow.
Thorne too, maybe.
Maybe Thorne too, but
you know,
side by side, hopefully throwing up the high five gesture. But Smedegaard, Swenson, Thorne, Curley, and Waldbaum, the top 5. That is James Jensen, Solomon Meadows, and Matan Rosenberg. Top 10. You know what that means, Greg? He's in the top 10 shootout.
Nice. He was so amped about thinking I could maybe do this finally. And that is great. And for Thorne, by the way, he's driven only 1 race other than this one at Atlanta Motorsports Park. That's his 3rd podium.
That's awesome for Thorne. Rosenberg, though, how about that? I'm so excited for him. That was his goal, and that's a lofty goal in a field this
It was. And remember,
tough, you know?
what, like 2 laps ago, he was 12th.
Right.
So he really made a couple of moves on both Preston and Lavoie.
Look at this final corner for these two. Tullo on back to 55. Coming to the line. I don't think we're quite going to get the drag race we were hoping for. Here they come, nose to tail.
That's a battle for 43rd, and it's as intense as anything on the track. You got to love that. Here they go.
Through turn 1, take the checkered flag.
Yep.
Well, I will say this, Greg. Race 1 was great. Race 2 was better.
Oh, it was indeed. It was superb. We had great battles, and tell you, the battle for 2nd, the battle for 4th was absolutely stellar. And then that 4-car battle that we were following with Preston Upham, and look at that. Both Upham was able to get by on Christoph. Raines couldn't quite do it. So I think Ryan Upham is going to be pretty pleased.
I'd say
they continue to sort that car.
ASM cars coming back into the pits, -1.
Yeah.
Tom O'Gorman, trouble for the 94.
And as I was watching as we were, getting shots around the track, I didn't see him pulled off anywhere. I wonder if he just pitted.
Could have.
And knew he had some sort of an issue.
Yeah, this is going to, again, thankfully our points only run back to 20th, so finishing 50th isn't any different than finishing 20th, but it's still going to hurt.
You bet.
He came in as the points leader, remember. So the race 1 is going to help. Race 2, not so much for Tom O'Gorman. Smedegaard, though, is going to salvage this one.
Well, but the interesting thing is for Smedegaard, he came in 2 points behind Tomo. They were pretty much equal in terms of wins and all that. They've just been trading them. Well, what Gorman experienced here, Smedegaard experienced in the first race. So they're still going to be pretty even in terms of the points. But the problem is the guys 3rd, 4th, and 5th in those points aren't that far back. And when you get no points, that allows people to close things up in a hurry.
Fantastic racing in GRIDLIFE Touring Cup. I'm excited to go talk to everybody after that race, Greg, and we should let you know that this is going to be the final action on the stream for today on Friday. Tomorrow, though, we've got more coverage for you from GRIDLIFE Midwest. Let's just quickly run you through what's going on tomorrow. You should tune in around 12:30 because that's where to kick off GLTC and the top 10 shootout. The top 10 on your timing and scoring there: Smedegaard, Swenson, Thorne, Curley, Waldbaum, James Jensen, Solomon, Meadows, and Rosenberg are going to each get 1 lap to themselves to go as fast as they possibly can to set themselves and reorganize the grid for race number 3. That's a super fun session to watch. So tune in 12:30 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. Then it'll be track battle, followed by GLTC race number 3. Then a little bit of a break. We'll be back for GLTC Race 4, then more track battle and drift, and that will end our weekend of coverage at GRIDLIFE Midwest here in 2022. And there are 5 other streams this season that will be with you for, including our next round at GRIDLIFE Chicago in Audubon Country Club in Joliet, Illinois at the end of the month of June. For today, though, that's about going to do it for us. We're going to quietly wrap things up here and get prepped for a night of music around this festival site here in South Haven, Michigan. If you were here, you'd feel all the energy behind us. There's people packed in and getting ready to enjoy some fantastic sights.
We're feeling the thump already
Absolutely.
Of the music.
All right, as we finish things up here, I'm just taking a look at what we got to do to wrap things up. But, Greg, fantastic day of racing, fantastic day of drift, track battle, some new records set, and some great racing.
I think so, and I think the cool thing is temperature-wise, it's going to be a little cooler tomorrow. Track will be faster, so we could see some more records set, and that generally means the racing can be even better as well. So I'm pumped. The only issue is how many people are a little bit bleary-eyed after going to listen to some furious music for the rest of the evening here. I mean, look at the crowd, and I love this. You know, whether they're here for music or motorsports, they're enjoying both. And everybody's pretty amped about it. But it was a great day, some great racing, and crowd's loving it.
Fantastic. And again, thanks everybody for being here with us. Join us tomorrow starting at 12:30 Eastern as we get prepped for tomorrow's action. Coverage of GridLife Midwest is brought to you by Momo, made in Italy since 1964, and by Hyundai. It's your journey. Coverage of GridLife Midwest is brought to you by FCP Euro. Every part you buy is guaranteed for life. eBay Motors. Let's ride. And by Falcon. The Falcon Azenis RT660 is the official tire of Club TR.
At 303, we're always chasing perfection. Protect your ride with graphene nanospray coating. Now, boost protection, shine, and slickness with Graphene Detailer. Level up your detailing game. Harness the power of graphene with 303.
Ooh. Call Logano. Hey, Joey, you can save money if you fill up at Shell if you use Advanced Auto Parts Speed Perks.
Dude, I'm way ahead of you.
You saved at the pump?
Yeah, I saved at the pump.
The pump?
The pump.
He saved at the pump!
Woo! Now you can save at the pump when you shop at Advance Auto Parts. Learn more at advanceautoparts.com/gas rewards.
Now, it's my turn.
The more power you have, the more grip you have, the more you push the limits, the more stopping power you need. Get race-proven technology. Hawk Performance.
Hey, we still on this weekend for a little?
I'm in desperate need of some.
What about you, Jim?
No, my sister's getting. Yeah, dun, da, 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 wedding. She's getting married, so.
When adventure calls, make sure you're ready to answer. Stable 360 ethanol treatment is specifically formulated for year-round use, so your engines will be ready when you are. Ready, willing, stable.
We've been powering the American road since before it was paved. Our first breakthrough in motor oil was introducing it. And we've been reinventing it ever since. From the world's first high-mileage oil to the world's first synthetic blend. There are those who change with the times, and those who drive them. Valvoline, the original motor oil.